Have you ever wanted to commit a steady decline in the population of some local ratman, but those pesky books with funny titles keep killing your vibe? Well, worry no more, friend, because for a very low and affordable price of $29.99, you can destroy the entire gene pool of ratmen by utilizing such unconventional warfare tactics as gun. Too civilized for you? Don't worry, because you can actually double down and use 2 guns, which is not true because you actually carry 3, which is also a lie because you actually carry 4. Use ancient dwarven technology to cook some charred skewer tails. Geneva Convention? Don't worry about it. Utilize the power of God's will by strapping a flashbang to your big hammer, which is definitely, not at all, can be considered magic. Or simply roleplay as your average dwarf with a minigun. This is Vermintide 2. A game that goes from being a brain-dead button mash to the reason you hate the entire population of Sweden for committing such terrible crimes as creating this game. A game where you will spend hours of your life defeating legions of rats, Reddit mods and wine moms that haven't gotten their morning coffee yet, just to perish after a random rat sniffs you just a little bit too hard. This is Vermintide 2, but it is also the best game ever created. Just listen to the main premise. You play as one of those losers, them being that one guy who always picks white male warrior with a sword and D&D, dwarf, no that's it, he's just a dwarf, best boy, grandma with anger issues who is also adorable.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know where that came from.
And that other chick that you pick if you are 14 and/or watch anime.
Don't fuck with me! I have the power of God and anime on my side! Wait,
You are the protectors of cheese. Rat people want your cheese, and you hit them with a big hammer for even having a thought of sniffing your delicious Gouda. These green guys, or as I like to call them, crackheads, are out for that moldy cheese of yours. These ones, goat cheese. Simple. And I would gladly go into details, but let me be very serious for a second. I've been doing these videos for a while now, and I just cannot get the views. Gaming videos on YouTube are in decline. It's all about plagiarizing Wikipedia pages with studio tier editing now. I just feel empty. I've tried changing thumbnails, titles, everything. It just doesn't work. Huh? What's this? Guys, I have created a formula for easy views that I actually did not steal from Pyrocynical, who in fact stole it from this guy, but that doesn't matter because Pyrocynical, he's British. So he does not count. Every time I talk about an enemy, weapon, or class,
I'm over here stroking my dick, I got lotion on my dick right.
Which, by the way, we will cover completely every single one of them. Jesus Christ, why do I do this to myself? I'll put them into a tier list, and keep in mind, I'm not the most experienced player in the game, so I will rate things not specifically from their effectiveness, but also from my enjoyment of either using them or them using me as their cat-eared boy toy.
God bless America!
Example, weapon is crazy good, but boring to use. I will not rate it very high, don't yell at me. There are a lot of ways to play this game, there are some good ones and then there are some questionable ones. We'll cover them in depth later, but for now let's focus on the main game, which is the campaign and the DLCs for it, some of which are completely free. The best thing about Vermintide 2 is that, like Payday 2, they only took the important factors of Left 4 Dead as a foundation to build on, like specials or unique death animations depending on how you kill enemies. Unlike Back 4 Blood that did not understand that the main aspect of the game, aka the fighting, should be top notch, Vermintide understands that. You can cut off limbs from enemies, chop their heads off, split them in half, or even shoot out their eyes. You just see the love and the thought they put in the project, it feels alive. There's also Vermintide 1, and no one really cares about Vermintide 1, so let's oh, we have to talk about Vermintide 1? Do we really though? Goddammit, fine. Boom, it's 2008 and Valve just dropped this bad boy like it's nothing, thus releasing a title that will define the whole genre of multiplayer PvE shooters. A year later, boom, the same game, but better. I still kinda prefer the original game, but don't tell anyone. And with mod support, so people can create their own levels, skins, and change certain gameplay elements that they find lackluster. Then Back 4 Blood came out, proving that gaming is in fact dead. But before that, in 2015, Vermintide: The End Times came out. And maybe because I'm spoiled with Vermintide 2, but it just feels so bad to play. The quality was just not simply there.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
In something like 2010 it would have been fine, but keep in mind, in 2015 we already had Killing Floor, with Killing Floor 2 dropping a year later. Payday 2 was already 2 years old and people were still playing Left 4 Dead 2. But they were all deceived, as Vermintide 1 had a very nasty trick up its sleeve. It was entirely melee based. One of my biggest gripes with Vermintide 2 at first was its speed.
We have work to do and Skaven to disappoint.
After playing something like Payday 2, you log into this and it just feels so tediously slow. So, you know, I just had to watch the most pointless latest YouTube drama video in the background. If you're a crackhead, I mean low attention span type of guy like myself, you'll be most glad to know that Vermintide 1 is almost twice as slow. And you can't even slide in this game, pathetic. The range on the weapons is extremely misleading and the enemies really lack variety, but if you turn the nitpick inhibitors off, okay,
No warning!
the game feels pretty fun. Guys, I have changed my mind. The game is actually better than Vermintide 2. The reason I even brought this game up is that despite being not really anything to write home about, especially in the current year, it set a huge foundation for Vermintide 2. With its mechanics, parrying, blocking, dodging, pushing, shooting specials and fighting random boss encounters might not look as impressive here, but it is a foundation which Fat Shot will definitely improve upon by releasing this game in 2018. I've played a lot of multiplayer PvE games, but not a single one managed to hook me on the combat this much. Like, oh my god, you guys, I've played the game for like 15 minutes and I am already addicted. Can you tell me every single way to play the game and all the meta weapons so I'll get bored out of the game and quit after another 15 minutes? Okay, thanks. At first glance it is really nothing special, but the second you pop the Cataclysm difficulty or even go into Legend for the first time, it just starts clicking. When I first logged into the game, it did not really pique my interest, and I think this is my main complaint with the game, as the first 3 difficulties of the game, them being Recruit, Veteran and Champion, are essentially a baby mode, where you not experience anything the game has to offer for you. Specials are not devastating, the fear of getting hit is non-existent, and bosses die with nothing more than a wet fart.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.
What?
To even get to playing the actual game, you have to do what I like to call a small session of Destiny 2, as essentially playing Legend and higher without your character being level 30 is very not fun. And getting that level of 30 takes a while, and you have to bring the gear as well, which is also kind of a problem. So if you watch the video and think that, I wanna try this game, please try and bear through your first character grind, as it gets so much better later. Upgrading your character is a tough process, but there are some aspects that make it faster than being books. On every single level there are these hidden books you can find for some better loot and EXP. As a new player, try and always get these, either open a guide or ask a more experienced player to get them for you. In all seriousness, there are so many giga chats in this game. I have never seen a community being this helpful to new players. They will usually not only help you get the books, but show you exactly where they are and how to get them. Props to the chats who do this, your service is greatly appreciated. Books come in two types, tomes and grimoires, both of which were present in the original game, by the way.
Up yours, woke moralist.
Tomes occupy your healing slot, so you will not be able to have a healing item on you at all times. And yeah, this may sound scary, but it's actually fine. The grimoires, though, are an entirely different story. The second they are picked up, they cap your max HP, and there are 2 of them on the map, unlike tomes, which come in 3. Grimoires also cannot be removed from your inventory, and they occupy a potion slot, so if you want to carry one, you gotta say bye-bye to those chug jugs. Also, if you die with a grim in hand, it is lost forever and you cannot retrieve it, unlike tomes. The reward being, of course, that the Grims provide a lot more XP and loot upgrades. Some of the books require finding some hidden buttons, some require some intense Minecraft parkouring, and some are just hidden in plain sight. At first they seem really cool, but as you become more experienced in the game, you realize that they are a bit of a double-edged sword. Some of them are not a problem to get, but some completely stop your momentum, making you stop and wait until one guy finishes jumping on secret ledges for like 2 minutes, and only then can you go on about your day. Personally, I think they are fine, as I don't really go for them anymore since I only play Cataclysm, but on some maps they are a bit overtuned. But books are for the dumb. I am way too smart to read them.
It's for people with slow brains.
So my advice is, the second you find one, you immediately throw it out from the cliff. Don't worry, you are doing your team a favor here. You fucking bitch! Shut the fuck up! I've watched Andrew Tate! I'm the alpha! Now, that's all really cool, but how does the loot system work, you know? Why are we even collecting these? Well, the system may seem a bit stupid at first, but trust me, Fatshot has somehow managed to make it even worse. Basically, if you finish a mission, that's a chest. Get a level up, that's a chest. Finish an expedition, that's a chest too. And if you're wondering, no, there are no quirky mimic chests as a Dark Souls reference here. Chests provide rewards of various rarities, grey being an equivalent to Leper Gnome from Hearthstone, green, blue and orange, and of course, red items. They are not so much different in comparison to the orange ones, but oh my gosh do they look cool, and seeing them never gets old. Mom, get the camera! But what about stats? Well, there are 3 improvable stats tied to a weapon: the number, the properties, and the perk. Despite the popular belief, there are only 2 perks in the whole game: Swift Slaying and Parry. Properties are the percentage buffs. Dumb people will calculate breakpoints so each enemy will die to a certain combo. Smart people just put in attack speed and stamina. That only leaves the number. And I know, even seeing it is very scary. I bet your brain simply cannot process this advanced concept, such as an Arabic numeral. White bar would be so much better. Anyway, the game takes these numbers and collects them into the total power of your character, the maximum being 600. I don't really know how it works in depth, but no matter what character you play, it seems like the power of your items scales directly with your hours or a number of missions played, as the more you play, the better the items you will get. When you will start getting items with 300 power, this is your max. That happened to me after I finished leveling up 2 characters, so take it as you will. That said, do not attempt Cataclysm unless you're fully geared up. This shit will fuck you up, both in game and mentally. Okay, but how does one play Vermintide 2? You don't. When it comes to combat, it is deceptively simple. Your options are light attacks that are usually fast, have wide swings and can deal with hordes of enemies. But the downside being, unless you're hitting the head, it will deal no damage to armor. The heavy attacks, usually always able to pierce armor and are more suited for strong targets. And by the way, this game has a headshot mechanic, but even that is created in a very interesting way. Having a head at the center of your screen is not enough. You have to see how your weapon is swinging and guide it to the head. With horizontal swings and holds it is easy, but with diagonal swings and overheads it is not. You can also block, which neglects any damage you will take as long as you have these stamina shields. If they shatter, you will die almost instantly on higher difficulties. You can also spend some stamina shields to push enemies away, which is one of the core features of this game. Hold the push button and your guy will do a push attack, which are all different. Some push attacks are lunges and overheads, which is useful against elites, and some are wide sweeps used for crowd control. If you block just before the attack connects, like in every single video game ever, it will make a special sound, the opponent will stagger and you will lose only half of your stamina shields. This technique is called a timed block.
No more dancing.
Okay.
Not to be confused with parrying, which is the same thing, but with a certain perk. And I gotta say, the parry windows on these are insanely forgiving, so even a beginner player can pull some off intentionally. You can even parry bosses, but they will never stagger from it. You can also dodge, and I gotta say, they really nailed the dodge system in this game. You can dodge in 3 directions, back, left and right. Each weapon provides a certain amount of effective dodges, varied from 1 to 100. Effective dodge is basically a normal dodge, but if you waste all of your effective dodges, you will start doing this. They come back almost instantly though, but in a tough spot, this brief moment can fuck you up royally. You cannot spam dodges as they have a short cooldown in between, and if you press dodge too early, you will jump and get no distance and get fucked. Also, dodge does not give any iframes whatsoever, so Dark Souls fans, the exit is right there. Each character brings a firearm to the party, used for either sniping special units or elites, or sniping your teammates completely on accident. But that is where the sound design of this game comes into play, and oh my goodness, words cannot describe how good it is. Everything from the sound of a headshot
And business.
to the sound of a melee headshot, to the ultimates, to the dialogue, to the... You know what? Just listen for yourself. Okay, now let's discuss my favorite D&D party. Markus Kruber, or as he better known as Kruber, is your default character, and for a good reason, as his classes, or careers as they're called in this game, are very basic and provide the 3 core playstyles: crowd control, boss damage, and utility tank. Also, each character, Markus included, has a DLC career, which we'll discuss a bit later. If you're picking this game up, I strongly suggest you play as this wholesome goober, as he's basically everything that a beginner player needs.
I tell you what though, folks, that's bloody nice.
But that doesn't mean that he's bad. In fact, every career in this game is very strong. Not a single one stands out as being exceptionally bad. Each one feels a niche, and I honestly want to commend Fatshark for that. At first, Kruber doesn't really stand out as someone unique, being basically a guy with a big sword, but the more you play him, the more you realize how not only he, but every character in the game is actually very deep and interesting. Well, except for the elf, she's just a basic tsundere. Markus is suffering from severe PTSD due to his whole squad being wiped out by a Necromancer. He was also the only survivor, so the survivor guild is also an issue. He never really overcame that trauma and barely talks about it, as he decided to drink himself to death, which you can really tell by his red swollen eyes. Kruber's first career is Mercenary, and I can only describe it as such.
Day in the life of a true Uberstrike geezer. Wake up, meet the wife Susan. My little princess, isn't she beautiful? Time to take Bardin to Middenball. Rev up the Bugatti, wee! Quick stop at Clonus and load up them skins. Get a nail, Looks grand. Chaos Waste looking lovely today, just a bit of banter. Commoners chests make instant loss to the Beastman better. Good old green, look at that! I've made dinner, lovely. Pop down, have a couple of brews with the lads, and finish up in the Fortress of Dreams.
Okay, that was more of a Kruber as a whole, so let's try and discuss the Merc himself.
Can't take much more, darling. I see your fire. We've waited together.
Vital! Fight! Kill! Death! All right! Come on! Kill for old Kruber! This is where we stand, and they fall!
Mercenary is one of the best classes to deal with hordes, due to his passive ability of increasing the cleave of the weapons. Now, what is cleave, you might ask? Well, it is the ability of a weapon to hit multiple enemies in one strike. The higher the number, the more enemies it will swing through. This is one of the most important stats of a weapon, and there is no way to know if a certain attack will cleave or no, unless you try the weapon yourself. Only genius ideas ever come from this studio. Your passive ability makes it so if you hit 3 or more enemies with one swing, you get a strong attack speed boost that you can either spread to all your teammates or double for yourself. And if you know me, you already know what I picked. And your ultimate ability or career skill is the ability that I like to call Oi! By the way, everyone in this game is British for some reason, except for her, she's Scottish.
Scotland forever!
And if you decided to stop watching this video right now, I would not judge you. The ability knocks everyone away from you, making you and your team some breathing space and grants your team some temporary HP that will decay after a short while. The ultimate is incredibly useful and can even revive dead players with certain upgrades, although I wouldn't really recommend it. And despite this ultimate being extremely strong, I already know what you are thinking. Bass, this is the lamest ultimate ever created. And I wholeheartedly agree. But this is where that genius sound design comes into play. The feeling of power you get by pressing this button is indescribable, thanks to the amazing performance of Dan Mersch. The voice lines and the delivery of them really makes everything just that more immersive. Yes, Daddy Kruber, I'll fucking kill them all for you! Really strong, satisfying to play, no apparent downsides, easy A tier. Now to the weapons we go, and when it comes to them, I really prefer every single career to have a unique loadout. On some classes, one weapon is clearly the strongest with nothing even coming close. But it'll get quite boring to only use it alone, so for the video to not get boring, I will rate the weapons with careers I find them to be most effective at. You can equip most of them on any class, but this is the loadouts I prefer. I just wanted to say this for it not to get confusing. Great Sword is the first weapon you're gonna be using on this class, and it is not really great. Okay, it's not terrible, just extremely boring. Outside of cosplaying the giant dad from Dark Souls 1, this weapon does not really have that many uses. Your light and heavy attacks are nearly identical, so realistically that means light attacks are totally useless, and your only way to deal with elite enemies is your push attack, which is the only overhead at your disposal. And you're gonna need to deal with enemy elites, because one of them is a Mauler. There are 3 enemy factions in the game: Skaven, Chaos,
Invincible,
and Beastmen. Beastmen are a DLC faction that you have to pay a hefty amount to fight. If you want to make the game infinitely worse, buy it. That DLC even kinda reminds me of something. Anyway, the main elite of the Chaos are the Maulers. Interesting thing about them is that the only armor part of them is the head, and their torso is completely exposed, which means some of the weapons, especially ranged ones, deal more damage if you shoot them in the torso, which is interesting and provides a change of pace to the gameplay where you only go for the head. And the clue about it is visual. You can clearly see that their torso is exposed, and not like in Payday 3 where Bulldozer's chest is more vulnerable than his fucking face. Seriously, who made this shit? Greatsword goes into E tier for its boringness, and Mauler goes into B tier because of their very slow and predictable attacks. Halberd is up next, and this is easily one of my favorite weapons in the game. And the second you start using it, you realize that something is not right. The attacks are all over the place. This weapon is garbage.
Your fucking place, trash.
Unless you realize that there are combos in this game. Just when you thought that this is peak gaming, they improve it even further. Glory to Sweden. Halberd easily combos into either an armor-killing machine with your one heavy followed up by two lights, or into a lawnmower with one light and a heavy, making it extremely versatile in dealing with anything the game throws at you. If you're a beginner, as soon as you get a bit comfortable with the game, start using weapons like these. They will not only make the game more satisfying, but also will get you more familiar with the combat itself, and it looks very cool. So for that, A tier, a really solid weapon, perfect for chopping up some Storm Vermin. Storm Vermin, or Black Rat, is the elite unit of the Skaven. Best Warhammer race, by the way, Clan Morse all the way. They were nerfed very hard, as in Vermintide 1 they were a literal nightmare to deal with, especially for new players. But they do not fuck around here as well, as on Legend and higher, an overhead from these guys will one-shot you like it's nothing. Did you know that despite doing 13% of the overheads, the Black Rat is responsible? S tier for Storm Vermin, they're really fun to fight. You know who's coming next? The best weapon in the game, the Slam Dunk! Executioner's Sword, my beloved, is not actually the best weapon in the game, but my god is it fun to use. This thing is too big to be called a sword, too big, too thick, too heavy and too rough. It's more like a large hunk of iron, but holy hell, nothing feels as good in this game as chopping heads with this bad boy. Just as you might have guessed, it is very heavy and slow, but one strong overhead will put a Storm Vermin to bed even on the highest difficulties. At first I thought that this weapon is extremely overrated, but after I tried it, I went like... Combine it with Merc's extra cleave and attack speed from the passive, and you will have a whole meat grinder of a weapon on your hands. Perhaps its only weak side is that the push attack is kinda useless, but other than that, S tier, incredible weapon. Another weapon I really enjoy on Merc is Spear and Shield, especially on maps like Tower of Treachery, where I want some extra defense. It's a DLC weapon, sadly, but it is what it is. The weapon has everything you want from it. Good cleave, overheads for elites, and solid range. Also a shield for that extra oomph on the push, and extra survivability due to the set shield. But here's the problem, your light chains have a poke in them, and it is not quite good for hordes. Well, there is a way to deal with it. A technique called Block Cancel is an extremely useful tool at your disposal. Blocking resets the moveset of your weapon. You can use that to reset a combo if you fucked up, or use it intentionally to only go for the most useful attacks of your weapon. Keep in mind that push attacks sometimes impacts the weapon's combo, so if you want to block cancel, only block for a split second and then start going ham. It may seem awkward at first, but if you get used to it, it's really damn fun and effective. Easy A tier. On to the next career we go, and it is the Huntsman.
Beg not of the Eternal's mercy, and ye may be pleased to grant a quick death.
Oi, which eye do you want this in? Keep 'em busy. I've something special to prepare.
Okay, remember when I said that all classes are viable? Well, Huntsman is viable, but in my opinion, this is easily the worst class of the game. But he's also really fun. This is our first ranged class. Ranged classes specialize at killing elites, specials, and in case of Huntsman, melting bosses. Look at this fucking damage, oh my god! All of this is due to his career skill, Hunter's Prowl. You become invisible and during that time your ammo is refunded and your ranged attacks do insane damage to a single target. That seems pretty cool, but it is actually not. Unless you use a certain skill, your invisibility will break on first hit, meaning that the boss will try and target you, due to how the AI works. And on higher difficulties, bosses are always accompanied by regular enemies, which will also try and murder you. And you can miss the head or miss completely during your ult. This may sound like a skill issue, which sometimes it is, but enemies in this game are very twitchy and hitting the head of some bosses is close to impossible. Huntsman also gets 1 ammo back for every headshot with a ranged weapon, and you actually can double that effect with the weapon perk to make sure that you will never run out of bullets.
Thanks for the bullets! No, that is a weapon!
You also have double effective range on the weapons, an aura of increased critical damage, and more ammo. The problem is, outside of your ult, that is very inconsistent, and is on a hefty cooldown, you provide nothing for your team and yourself. It's really hard to rate this class. I've played with him a lot, but some of the time you just get the most miserable experience playing the guy. So for that, C tier. I'm sorry, my fellow Huntsman mains. Now to the weapons. The first one being Mason Sword, and oh my god, this thing is disgusting!
Disgusting!
Also, it's a DLC weapon. The only reason I use it on Huntsman is because it's so strong, it can make the melee game feel good even on this edgy dude. This weapon provides everything: fast attack, stagger power, good cleave, good elite killing probabilities, and an extremely good push attack to top it off. Really strong, works with every class. Gotta be S tier. Now next is Tuskgore Spear, also a DLC weapon, and it's weird. Realistically, you would think that Spear would be good for dealing with elites, but it's quite the opposite. The weapon's excellent cleave on the second heavy has a very wide sweep, which also looks very cool. But the stabs meant for elites are just so hard to hit in the head. It might have been a skill issue or a Bestigor moment, but it just felt too awkward to use. I really like the weapon, but its weird patterns of attacks just puts it into B tier. Now, Bestigor is easy C tier, and here's why. Beastmen are a DLC locked race that, if acquired, can randomly replace one faction on a mission. Bestigor is an only elite unit of the Beastmen. The second he spots you, he will yell out a sound cue and then will attempt to ram you.
Hey bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!
Other than that, its moveset is very similar to Stern Vermin. The charge can be avoided by either hitting it or dodging out of the way. Blocking is also an option, but it will deplete your stamina shields very fast, so it's more useful to dodge it. They are extremely tall, so hitting the head is a problem, but they are also exceptionally buggy. Like, oh, Beastman. Sometimes you can just randomly stop.
That's a bug! That's a bug! That is a bug!
Or literally drift like in that one enemy. Our next weapon is Sword and Shield. The reason I prefer it on Huntsman is because it gives him the survivability he needs. Also, it's very decent during hordes. The downside is the weapon is terrible against armor, which for Huntsman is not really a problem. It does have a really nice stab-stab combo after the push attack, which is better than nothing I guess, but I wouldn't use this thing on any other career though, and it's just so fucking ugly. What even is this shield? C tier. Now, regular sword without a shield is just meh. Your charge attacks are a wide sweep, but I prefer to just block cancel first to lights. Without the stab-stab combo of the sword and shield, and no, said shield, in my opinion, just a downgrade, and using it just not simply feel good. D tier. Now for the ranged weapons. In comparison to other classes, Kruber's ranged arsenal is tiny. Contrary to popular belief, Kruber only has 2 ranged options. Wow, what a surprise! There are definitely not more that I'm ignoring just for the comedic value. Hunting bow is a weapon exclusive to Huntsman, and it is honestly his best. On fully charged arrow, you can deal some crazy damage, and the fast reload of it just makes it superior to literally any other gun. But the bow itself is so goddamn clunky, especially with that weird zoom it does, that is just so unnecessary. Kerillian has a similar bow, and after trying that one, this one just feels like a straight up downgrade. Plus the arrow is obviously harder to land than the bullet due to such thing as gravity, but when playing Huntsman you are literally that Mickey Mouse gif, so it's still A tier. Handgun, or is it better known as musket, is Kruber's best firearm. Sure, it's near to useless on Huntsman. Hello, editing best here. Well, editing this clip I played a bit more of a Huntsman with the handgun Kruber, and I gotta say I was wrong here. The handgun is not useless at all. It does damage, and a lot of damage, but the reload is just way too long, and bow deals more damage to bosses, and you can try to like hip fire it a bit to shoot faster when a gut runner is coming at you, or some very weird type of horde control against berserkers or something. So I still think that the bow is better for Huntsman, but handgun is also an option, especially since how enjoyable it is to use. But my god, is it good! And you know it's good because it uses Half-Life 2 shotgun reload sound every so often. This weapon is the best weapon for killing specials that far away. No matter which part of the body you hit, it's a guaranteed kill, even on Cataclysm with some minor exceptions. Slap on conservative shooter and you have yourself an XXX special Destroyer 007 XXX. And speaking of annoying specials, meet the Blightstormer. This guy is hands down the most dangerous special enemy in the game that is actually completely unique, as I have never seen a similar ability in any other game I played prior. This McDonald's enjoyer is responsible for 90% of all of your lost games. His presence is indicated by him singing in a distance, and the words actually rhyme if you listen to them carefully.
Vortex wind of father fly, I cast on you, now die! Die! Die!
But you won't be able to listen to them, because as soon as you hear him sing, you will start to spin around like a Beyblade trying to understand where that big boned motherfucker is. If you fail, he will cast a vortex that tracks the player and on contact will suck him inside and then spit him out, dealing massive damage and breaking all of your shields. It can also hit you off the map, which is always nice. Also, if someone kills him while you're in the vortex, you will still take damage as his last fuck you, I guess. The distance this guy can cover with his spells is insane. He can do it from the other side of the map, through the wall, through the floor, while being out of bounds. It's honestly disgusting. Oh, and if he's near you and you don't one-shot him, he'll just teleport away. Also, handgun goes into S tier for being incredibly fun to use, and Blightstormer goes into A. He will fuck you up and you will cry about it. The only reason he's not S is because it's kinda bullshit that he can cast shit from places where he is literally unkillable. And yeah, that's it, there are no more ranged weapons left. Moving on, guys. Alright, fine, there's more, obviously there's more. Repeater handgun is a very fun weapon to use and holds 8 bullets at the same time that you can unleash in a machine gun-like action, which is always cool, but it cannot pierce armor, and it's not hit scan like the musket, which means sniping specials becomes a problem. It can really shine on Huntsman, especially if you carry some purple juice with you, but the bow is just so much better because it pierces armor and makes it easier sniping things, and bow synergizes with your passive a lot better, so C tier. And of course, the gun, the myth, the legend, Blunderbass, that for some reason sounds like a mortar in Vermintide 1, is a literal meme. Despite, you know, having bass in the name, I don't like it very much. It's a shotgun, which, believe it or not, are quite powerful in this game, but it is the worst one. The first thing you have to realize when picking this weapon is you handicap yourself by not being able to kill specials, and the trade-off is just fucking nothing. It's even worse than nothing, because you pick up the weapon thinking that you can kill someone when you will just barely scrape them. What the fuck is this? The only good thing you can do with this is to kill maulers, which is not worth it at all. All shotguns can one-shot berserkers, but this weapon cannot even do that. Why does it exist?
Man, shut the fuck.
And speaking of berserkers, if you're a new player and you see some wacky Assassin's Creeds running at you, you are already dead and buried, because berserkers do not fuck around. There are two types of berserkers, plague monks and savages. They are not armored, but their attacks cannot be interrupted with anything outside of an ult. Pushing them does nothing, and their chains are extremely long. Without proper dodges, they will melt you instantly. Seeing some of them in a pack running at you is terrifying. You have to spend armor or abilities on them, or they will fuck you up instantly. And despite being very similar, I always found Plague Monks to be way more dangerous, since their attack animations are a bit more obscure, but that's a very subjective thing. Blunderbass goes into the first tier from the end, and Berserkers go into 8th tier because they can be very annoying due to the delayed nature of their battle cry.
Welcome to San Andreas, I'm CJ from Grove Street.
Now the next class is Footknight, or as I like to call him, the Battering Ram. That's who he is.
Just try to stop me!
First things first, I love playing this career because Kruber just seems to be having such a good time.
Fire thrower! Someone serve Kruber!
Your passive ability reduces all damage taken by 15% in aura, which can be upgraded to 50% but only to a single target. He also has one extra stamina shield and reduces damage to himself by 10%, but that's boring. The main thing you're going to be playing this guy for is the Valiant Charge. The ability can be cancelled, so it kind of becomes a shield bash, which is also nice. Chuck up a purple potion that reduces your cooldowns, and you can perma-stun any boss in the game for a very long time. And this guy has so many buffs to help his team. The utility he provides in general is insane, and also dealing with elites with this guy is not a problem, as he can not only knock them down with his ult, but also stagger them normally. Also, knocking elites down from the cliff is an option you should always go for.
Nice throw!
Pair it up with a handgun and you have a tanking, special sniping menace that can solo carry some of the fights. Oh yeah? Well, two can play that game, you gold fuck! I also have a friend that mains this guy, so if I talk shit about him, he'll probably murder me with a blunderbuss. Easy A tier for Sir Kruber. The only reason he's not in S is because playing him a lot can get real boring. Now for the weapons. By Sigmar, there's a tide of vermins there too. Oh, don't worry sir, I will use my warhammer to beat them. A giant hammer is about what you would expect. Light is an overhead and heavy is a sweep smash. Now the hammers as a class work as follows. I may be wrong here, but they will have a 100% cleave even through armored targets like storm vermin, but the damage will only be dealt to the first 3 to 4 enemies hit, and then the attack will only apply stagger. This sounds bad, but not for Kruber. A staggering summon is what you want to do. Not only does staggering grant your team cooldown reduction, it also grants you grey HP. Now I've mentioned that mechanic before, but did not really went into depth about it. This mechanic is one of the reasons I enjoy playing this game so much. First skills of which character you unlock on level 5 are the means of getting your grey health, thus your main source of survivability. Basically, as long as you are good, you can live on 1 HP and essentially build up your grey shield that you'll get for various actions. Staggering enemies, hitting multiple enemies with one swing, killing targets, or for critting, the latter being a literal meme. Never pick it. Also, if you like dying a lot, I can suggest picking a skill that heals everyone when you heal yourself instead. Sure, the HP will decay after a while, but as long as you're consistently fighting and not fucking up, you will never basically die. You just have to always keep in mind how you earn your grey HP, as every skill has their advantages and disadvantages. That said, Great Hammer goes into C tier. It's okay, but could be better. One-handed mace is up next, and I never really gave it a go until I started recording this video. And oh boy am I glad I did, because it's a really good weapon. Your light is a sweep and heavy is an overhead. This is very basic, but it's more than enough. You get enough power to kill things and stagger them at the same time. But despite it being very fun to use, I honestly prefer the next installment. Mace and Shield grants you more survivability and more stagger due to the shield slam you can perform, but for the cost of the overheads, which you can still do with the push attack, but it is nearly not as effective. But then again, speaking ideally, you never should kill elites in the first place, so Mace and Shield goes into A tier and the regular Mace goes into B tier. And of course, I saved the best for last. My main and my one true love, the Grail Knight. You remember at the beginning I told you that there are ranged classes, boss damage classes, tanks, crowd control classes? Well, forget it, because Grail Knight is literally everything class, a one-man army class, and I already know what you're saying.
But how can Kruber be Grail Knight? He's not well blood, he used ranged weapons, he's a mercenary, he's a drunk and a gambler. This is literally impossible and not lore-friendly.
Yes, very true, but hear me out. Fat chart, really, what's your money? And look at how cool that career skill is! Woo! Your ultimate ability, Blessed Blade, is my favorite ability in the game due to the sheer feeling of power it grants a player. Just look at that. The blade deals insane damage that can be either turned into a double down or into a wide sweep to kill elites faster. I personally prefer the sweep and only take the double tap for the boss levels or other gameplay modes. His passive is also really interesting. At the start of the level you'll get quests that, if completed, will grant really strong buffs to the whole team. You can also use these quests to farm potions that will make the attacks of your team stronger. Also, you move faster and deal more damage to the first enemy hit, meaning one heavy headshot is enough to kill any elite or special pre-cataclysm. Grail Knight is also our first Giga Chat tier career because we have no firearms. Ammo fans be like, I cannot shoot any more ammo! Hitting likers be like, I cannot shoot it overheated! Millingers just make two. And because of that, we also gain the ability to block flame from the Warp Fire Throwers. Warp Fire Thrower is another special unit, and at first he doesn't seem strong, but as soon as you start playing any melee class, you will feel the pain. The guy is armored, so only armor-piercing weapons can kill him. The fire usually cannot be blocked, but luckily, we're not usual. It also pushes players away and deals a lot of damage. Additionally, if you hit him with his Warp Fire tank, he'll explode and deal damage to everyone around him. That, by the way, never happens, and usually you just try to melee him and he'll explode anyway, demolishing your health for free.
Nice car.
Grail Knight goes into S tier, and Warp Fire Thrower, fuck it, B tier. Not really a fan of Kruber being a simp though. Ew, what the fuck? Or French, for those of you who don't know. Bretonians are French, and Kruber will even try to practice French accent, which Elf really likes.
I swear I'm not. As Lilith is my witness and probably yours.
So, as a true Grail Knight main, I would discuss further information with a French accent.
The Grail Knight brings two weapons with him to the battle, the Bretonian Longsword and the Bretonian Sword and Shield. Before I even start, let's do that real quick. The fucking can't. Oh my god, it's so bad. The Bretonian Longsword is perhaps my favorite weapon in the whole game. You have an anti-elite combo, which is push attack into light into heavy, and horde control, which is secondary heavy into light. This weapon does everything, and it does everything good, but that's not all. It has a unique stance feature, which means that every time you charge up an attack, you automatically block any attack flying at you with a very slick animation. Not only is this really damn powerful, but it is also really cool. Just look at how gracefully you fight. It really feels like a Fuck. The enemy I'm fighting here, by the way, is one of the 5 bosses that can randomly spawn during a game. Literally. Hands down, the worst boss of the game. His attacks are nothing special, but his puke is devastating, especially in some scenarios where there is no ground to fight on. Also, if he takes a lot of damage, he'll go down on his knees and try to regen his health back. So your whole team should start killing him that exact instance. Problem. On higher difficulties, there are always some special or normal enemies near.
Nah, I'm with my...
And you sometimes cannot afford everyone focusing him. Of course, that's where the Grail Knight comes in, as his double tap almost instantly destroys his second health bar. But if you don't have a strong damage dealer, you are fucked, as if he gets up even with a slither of HP, you have to do the same thing again.
By the hammer and the holy...
Fucking hate the show, D tier, never spawn in my games again. Now, Bretonnian Sword and Shield is very weird. In this game, you never choose a weapon based on the damage, as it is the same all around. You choose over the moveset and sometimes cleave. And the moveset of this weapon is so all over the place. Its anti-armor combo is okay, but there are way better options, especially for Grail Knight, and this weapon is tied specifically to him. Other useful thing is that you can double shield bash, and it is actually really useful and looks cool as well, but that is simply not enough. Mace and shield is just clearly better, and I get that, but I have one more argument. Look at how sick this looks. Still, E tier. Also, just wanted to throw this in, Google Grail Knights and you will see that pretty much all of them wear spears. You cannot use spears as Grail Knight. What the fuck? Bardin is a dwarf. He likes beer, he likes his friends, and he likes smashing some nasty rats' faces in. At first you think that this is it, but as usual with this game, it's far from truth. Just as Kruber, he is traumatized and haunted by his past, as him catching a nap on his post cost him a life of multiple of his comrades who were slain by the gutter runners.
Sorry bro, I almost forgot.
For that, he's exiled and decides to join our team of charming traumatized losers. He's also very wholesome and nice to listen to, again, thanks to the amazing performance of David Rinto, who also voices Granddad Dog and Mr. Boo in Peppa Pig. Oh, and Monsieur Donkey, that's a fan favorite. Meatballs. The character just feels so alive and charismatic thanks to him, and listening to some of his lines, despite them being recycled twice a mission, never gets old.
We found the source, Dory. Smash it to pieces.
Bardin also really likes to sing.
My grudge will keep me forged.
Playing him also has a very nasty side effect that will cause a damage to your psyche. You see, as a dwarf, Bardin will talk in the dwarvish language, just like that one classmate you had who traveled with his family to France for a weekend.
Hello again, dumbbell!
And I gotta tell you, a woman giving birth just may feel 10% of the pain I feel when I try to resist the urge of calling every rat I see a wazak. Ain't it right, Azumge?
My assessment? Umgak.
Gameplay-wise, I always thought that his classes were on the more boring side, but the more I played him, the more I realized just how useful this little fella is. So let's get to those careers.
Like smoke on the mountain. Old ranger trick. Don't worry, Crooty, I'll be back.
The first one is Ranger Veteran, and it is hands down the most flexible career in the game. It's very similar to Kruber's Huntsman in a way that your skill icons are green. Outside of that, it is pretty different actually. Your ultimate, Disengage, makes you drop a smoke bomb and go completely invisible, while also gaining increased ranged power, which is already better than the Azumgi's one, as you actually don't break stealth when attacking. Your passive makes it so after someone kills a special, you shit out a pack of ammunition. I kid you not, literally shit bullets. Look, it even says so on the wiki. You get faster reload and more ammo on this class, and additionally, every consumable you use has a 10% chance to not be
be consumed. Neat when it happens, but I would not rely on it too much. Now, as I told you before, his kit is extremely flexible. You can go utility Bardin, supplying your team with potions and making it so your smoke bomb gives them temporary HP. You can go boss melting Bardin with this pistol. You can go shotgun Bardin and never let anyone on your team have fun besides you. And if you're not a pussy, you can go balls out Bardin. Take these axes, throw them out because who the fuck needs them, and just start going ham! Balls out, Azumgi! And if you need to kill a special, you just come back and fuck you! Yes! Yes! Yeah! I'm dead. What is this shit?
The Blight Stormer.
Your ultimate can also grant you a free bomb on use, and that is very powerful on its own, but there's a super secret other use that we'll discuss a bit later. Bombs come in two types, fire bomb and the regular bomb. The fire bomb is usually better in every single way, so just pick it up when you see one. There are also golden bombs that deal slightly more damage and are also very rare. For its flexibility and tremendous amount of utility, easy S-tier career, it is impossible not to have fun while playing the guy. Now for the weapons, first you have a very small hammer, but don't be fooled, as size does not actually matter. Bardin would know. Due to the size of this weapon, you often have to jump to hit targets that are taller than you, which means almost anyone. God, it's hard being 5'11". The weapon is surprisingly really good, pretty similar to Azumgi's mace, meaning it's alright, but there are better options, so B tier. Now, Great Hammer is a whole different story. Size actually does matter, huh? It's pretty much the same as Azumgi's one though, but it looks slightly more funny. Problem is, it's slow and faces the exact same problems as Azumgi's one, meaning C tier. Warpick is a pickaxe. That's the only good thing about this weapon. Warpick is so bad, it's a literal meme. The range is abysmal, the speed is terrible, and the cleave is awful on top of that. Your heavy attack is an overhead, but it hits nearly not as strong as it should. Just awful, which is sad because it looks really damn cool. F tier. Now for some ranged ones, crossbow is a crossbow, shoots fast, reloads fast, and the sound design is just peak.
That's a keen eye you got there with.
A tier. Handgun is pretty much the exact same copy of Azumgi's one, good for sniping specials, but crossbow has higher crit chance if aimed and feels slightly better to use. Still A tier. The only reason it's not S is because there are better options for Bardin. One of them being the Grudge Raker, aka the shotgun, as this thing is a beast. Take a skill that makes you reload faster if you hit two enemies with one shot, and you'll tear through enemies like an average Discord mod tears through his 10th McDonald's order during his breakfast. This thing also shreds everything that's not armor, meaning that berserkers and maulers are dead in 1 to 2 good shots. Also, the majority of specials lucky enough to be in the close proximity of you.
I want to apologize.
Bombardiers, dead and gone.
Which includes the Hook Rats.
Hello, baby.
Fucking compete! Meet the Hook Rat, also known as the Slaver, also known as the Packmaster, also
Today's
known
subject,
as fuck you bastard!
Slavery.
He's kind of a mix between the jockey and the smoker from Left 4 Dead.
Snoop Dogg has Spider-Man!
His sound cue is the skulls on his back hitting each other, and that sound is so terrifying, especially when you are the last man standing, because if you dodge with the wrong timing, it's game over. You stupid Hook Rat, I have the shotgun. Oh no.
Wait!
The only way to deal with this motherfucker is to kill him before he comes close, which, unless you can afford to shoot him or you're a Grail Knight, you won't be able to do, meaning you will have to dodge.
I don't want to do this no more.
The timing is very narrow, and if you dodge into a rock, you are dead.
1, 2, 3.
Fail to see him in a gigantic crowd of enemies? Say bye bye to your team. Also, for some reason the health on this guy is ridiculously high, making him one of the most dangerous specials in the game. Shotgun goes into S tier for how fun it is, and Hook Rat is placed right next to him because he's just that cool.
What? You must have more!
Ironbreaker does not actually break any iron, you fucking liars! Hands down an equivalent to Yumi from League of Legends. The requirements to play this guy are identical to using shotgun in COD.
Double kill, funny shot, mosquito drone, revenge.
All you need is one finger and a pulse. Your ult makes you an unkillable bastard. You taunt everyone around you, even bosses if you get the upgrade, and making it so your block is unbreakable. Like a diamond. Thus you buy your team 10 seconds of literal invincibility as everyone is targeting you, while you start yelling random voice lines that you cycle through completely on your second use of this ability. Jesus Christ, Bardin, I bet you have a grandma that can hit harder than that. Your passive is the best quality of life passive in the game, making you completely absorb any hit once in 20 seconds. That one random rat that keeps fucking hitting you is not a problem anymore. You also take 30% less damage, have an extra stamina shield, and decrease the micro stun you get for getting hit to a half. Now, playing this guy takes no effort, and he's very boring, but my God, is he effective! Having an unkillable wall at your team is extremely useful, especially when 2 attacks from a normal rat put you to bed forever. But don't forget that any special or an overhead from a boss will go through your block, so you're not completely invulnerable. But for how boring he is to play, B tier, although the class is easily one of the best. Weapons! Hammer and shield is our first option, and it is actually really damn decent. Shield grants you more survivability, and the hammer in general is pretty good. Again, your push attack is an overhead to help fight elites. Not great, but better than nothing. A tier. Axe and shield is my personal favorite though, and even the game knows it's the choice of Chads. Look at that soy-jacking hammer. Disgusting! Defining aspect of axes is that all of their attacks go through armor, and normal light chain is very strong against elites, and the heavy can combo into light for some okayish horde clear that even has some cleave. You might wonder why am I surprised? Well, you will understand very soon. The choice between the two is entirely up to you. If you wanna kill more elites, grab an axe. If it's the same old, grab a hammer and enjoy being a loser, a virgin and a manlet. Always bring the axe, A tier. As an Ironbreaker, you also get options to pick some new ranged weapons that are very useful. Or useless? I keep confusing the two. Drakefire pistols are a thing, and before I even start, F tier. It's an overheat weapon, meaning infinite shots if you're willing to wait or spend some HP resetting the hit. And look, you even have a skill to buff these. How bad can it be? Very bad is the answer. The damage on them is abysmal, not enough to kill any elite or special. They are inaccurate as fuck. Their only saving grace is crowd control, which is fire damage, meaning it takes a while to kick in. The sound design on them is really good, but other than that, they are horrible. Oh, and if you overheat, you straight up die. Dry gun is a flamethrower, which means it only has one use. Crowd control. On this footage it looks good, but let me tell you why it sucks dick. First of all, friendly fire. Unless you have friends in Discord, you will damage your teammates. Shooting fire requires charge up. If you get hit once while charging or unleashing, you stop shooting. Elites don't really get staggered, and on higher difficulties, they are always mixed in with the pack. Don't forget that you're also unable to shoot off specials. At least it is fun to use sometimes, and it does its job well. Too bad the job is just not that profitable to begin with. E tier. And if other weapons seem to be underwhelming, get ready for the second most broken weapon in the entire game, the Trollhammer Torpedo. This thing is just disgustingly overpowered, and also it's a DLC weapon. Basically, it's a grenade launcher that can headshot and even pierce enemies. The best thing is, it stuns everything.
What more do you want from me?
Bosses, elites, specials, fucking everything. Boss, not a problem. Just double the mouse button until you win, and you will most definitely win. Even patrols can be cleared with little to no help with this abomination of a weapon. Patrols are an extremely large group of enemies patrolling an area. They will most likely never see you if you play your cards right, and it is always better to wait them out than engaging head on. You will hear them coming from far away by them marching to a sick beat. I kid you not, on Cataclysm, half of your defeats will be some fucker jumping headfirst into a patrol and dying instantly. Some of the times they are unavoidable though, and you have to take the fight. Or, you know, have an Ironbreaker on your team who will wipe the whole patrol in 4 shots. Patrols go into A because sometimes they bug out and ambush you without making a single sound. And the Trollhammer Torpedo also goes into A because I hate how overpowered it is. And also because half of the time you kill your entire team with splash damage while using it. Now if you played Vermintide 2 before, you already know who is coming next. Everyone's favorite, the Slayer.
I like your Kudgy.
They are rage, brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse. Rip and tear until it is done.
By the ancestors! That one's mine! I'll skin the Wazak!
Slayer is quite a meme in the community because of his instant suicide capabilities.
Don't lose your way, your mind.
Your ultimate is you leaping to quite a large distance, stunning anyone under you and getting increased attack speed. Your passive increases your attack speed for 10% for each successful hit up to 3 or 4 times, depending on what skills you pick. You also attack 7.5% faster all the time, and your charge attacks cannot be interrupted by damage. Basically, this guy is an equivalent to going full monkey mode.
Go back! I want to be monkey!
Being an addition to the Giant Squad of no pussy-wrenched bullshit, I spit on you. The Slayer is based on picking 2 weapons of the same type. Picking 100 weapons will grant you extra attack speed, that includes dual weapons by the way, and picking 2 heavy weapons will grant you more power, but the latter is almost entirely worthless. I tried it for the video and it was miserable. I'm gonna be frank, this class did not click with me at all, but after I tried certain builds, he really felt fun and satisfying to play, but I still cannot rate him very high, because specials exist, such as the Gun Rat.
It is good there to be not dead. I'm dead!
The Gun Rat here is just as OP as he was in Total War. His range is basically unlimited, and if he started shooting you first, it's impossible to shoot him back as he suppresses your aim, while also damaging you and pushing you away. On top of that, he's armored, just as an extra fuck you. His whole existence is a giant slap in the face of the chat community, so B tier. And I'm probably gonna get shit for this, but the Slayer also goes into B tier. Weapons time. Dual axes are unique to Slayer, and they sure pack a serious punch. Sure, they don't have a clue what cleave is, but they melt everything else that comes into a pack of 1. Also, they have a very cool thing called movement tech. Some attacks have an effect of pushing you slightly forward, like Mason Sword and Bretonian Longsword. Spamming these attacks may help you move slightly faster, which does not sound useful at all, but it really is. It helps fighting bosses, getting places faster, and reaching people that need help quicker. First attack of paired weapons launches the player forward, so if you block cancel or switch to other paired weapon, you can achieve supersonic speed! Strong weapon, fun to use, no cleave though, so A tier. Now dual hammers are actually a DLC weapon. For some reason, and a strong contender for Bardin's best weapon. They are very fast, especially on the Slayer, and grant you the cleave you desire. Pair them up with axes to not only get a perfect movement tech, but prepare you for any situation that is not a gun rat. Fuck you! S tier. This was the build that really made the Slayer fun for me, although there is another. First of all, the Great Axe, an incredibly strong weapon that is good against everything, Cleave being on slightly less effective scale, but it is mostly enough. Your light attacks are excellent against elites, and heavies are wide sweeps, perfect for horde control. Excellent weapon, but the Cleave could be better, so A tier. Secondly, the Throwing Axe, which counts as a one-handed weapon, meaning we won't get the bonus of extra power for our funny build, but fuck it. This weapon is, dare I say, the shit, although it's a juicy weapon. The damage on one axe is enough to one-shot any special, and the headshot kills most elites. Fire it? Ha, not anymore, you fucker! Sorry, I get a little too excited using these. What I was saying was, oh, get fucked, you bitch! If you run out of them, you can just call them back from air, like in that other game that no one has heard of. The reason these are so good is because they grant you that reach you really need. There will come a time where you will have to kill a special on your own as Slayer, and these are excellent for that, although they do need some time to get used to. A tier. Now combine these two Exodia pieces together and you create the ultimate Bardin build trademark. Try it now, it is very fun, and you'll probably not die the second you press your ult. Probably. There's also one-handed axe. I've seen some people prefer it to dual axes. Personally, I don't see the appeal. It sure has some overheads, but the dual axes just seem better in every way, and outside of Slayer, you will never use this one, so D tier. Now it's time for the DLC career. The Engineer.
Hey look, buddy. I'm an engineer. That means I solve problems. Not problems like what is beauty, because that would fall within the purview of your conundrums of philosophy. I solve practical problems. For instance, how am I gonna stop some big mean Mother Hubbard from tearing me a structurally superfluous new beehive? The answer is a gun. And if that don't work, use more gun. Like this heavy caliber tripod mounted little old number designed by me. Built by me. And you best hope not pointed at you.
Okay, so despite being great at solving practical problems, Engineer has some major issues. Your ult is a minigun that will slowly recharge if you crank that soldier boy. The stacks go away with time, restoring something close to 30% of your ability. You can reset them by cranking the gun in time. The gun itself melts everything that is not armor, meaning in tight spaces Engineer can control the entire wave with no help. As usual with ranged classes, your ammo is increased as well as the ranged power of all of your allies, which is really useful if you have one more ranged guy on your team. And also you can carry 3 bombs at the same time, which may seem useless, but trust me, this is where the money is at. But the class has so much problems, resulting in many people hating on the guy. Problem 1, just as with the flamethrower, if you get hit, the spin up on your gun is gone. So you need your team or at least one guy to peel for you, and unless you play Bardin with only minigun build, which can get annoying to play as you need to always keep your stacks at 5, you are not going to be doing much. So your team will think that peeling you does nothing, which is in fact false. A good Engineer player can be a really strong addition to the team, being able to control hordes, berserkers, and even patrols and bosses, especially if you equip him with a certain gun. Problem 2, your minigun has only one effective dodge and the distance you cover is abysmal, so positioning is key, but even god tier positioning sometimes cannot save you from the Engineer moment. This is an Engineer moment. As soon as you start firing, you have to commit to it and you cannot check what is behind you, so please, whenever you are playing Footknight Azungi, help out a fellow Jank Barazi, will ya? I am probably gonna get reddited for this, but just for how fun it is to play Engineer and for his effectiveness in a certain game mode that I'll discuss a bit later, S tier. Engineer comes equipped with Cockhammer.
That's good.
In my opinion, Bardin's strongest two-handed weapon. Your light attacks are wide sweeps, more than capable of crowd control and soldier push attack. Also, it has a very cool sound effect when you hit things. You can also spin it around, which is also pretty fun, I guess. But the heavy attack is just look at it, magnificent. But overall it's a really strong weapon, but if it hits anything even slightly armored with light sweeps, it stops and provides very low mobility. Still, for how cool it looks and how fun it is to swing around, S tier. And are you ready for the best gun in the game? Well then, check out the Masterwork pistol that is actually pretty shit for Engineer, but for Engi Veteran it's God tier. Your left mouse button sets off a precise but slightly delayed shot. A good comparison will be the revolver in CSGO. But your right mouse button starts to fan the pistol, dumping your mag incredibly fast and killing everything that comes close, making it 99% less effective than fanning in Hunt Showdown.
No, I don't think I will.
Remember that ranged attack buff you get while in the smoke bomb? Well, with this bad boy equipped, you can melt any single boss in the game in an instant. One of them being the Minotaur. Minotaur is the Beastman's boss and it's somehow worse than the Troll. If your Troll was just a mid-wall, then this guy is everything wall. His attacks are fast and you can only squeeze one light hit in after his combo. His animations are janky and every attack launches you into outer space. He's also incredibly tanky and jittery, meaning hitting his head is very hard. The amount of times my team was wiped out to this guy because they were just cheesed off the cliff is insane.
Bro, I'm really about to get your pickle cheese now, boy.
Alistar goes into F tier for fuck you, and Masterwork Pistol goes into S despite the nasty damage drop off with the distance. That's it with the dwarf, and we move on to the best character of this game and the strong contender for the best fictional character ever created, Victor Saltzpyre.
Sigmar, bless this shot!
Before I even start, Team Bantic, you are the greatest man in the universe. Thank you for the amazing work you put into that character. Seriously, to say that you nailed it is to say nothing. Victor Saltzpyre, also known as Grimgy, also known as One Knight, also known as the Giga Chad, also known as the best character in the game. He is basically an equivalent to nice meme for a loser.
Acceptable for a wizard.
He's also the pimp of this gang, and you will know it's true very fast.
By Sigmar, you've posted cringe. Prepare to be judged.
He's loyal to the Empire, to Sigmar, and to his comrades. But as a true tsundere, he will never admit it.
Foul abomination!
He's exceptionally edgy, but in the Dante level edgy, where he's so edgy, he breaks the barrier of cringe and becomes cool.
What the fuck is goblin mode?
His arsenal is badass, his careers are badass, and his voice lines are just peak. Obviously, because he's an Inquisitor, he hates absolutely everyone but Kruber. That is, until he admits he showers every once in a while.
It's like I never knew you at all.
He's literally me.
With this shot, I am.
But still, even though he'll never admit it, he loves his team, despite one of them being a literal witch. Oh! And also, same as Bardin, every time you play the guy, you will repeat his voice lines out loud. You have been warned. Now for classes. Sigmar, bless this shot!
Why are my dreams full of blood?
You cannot escape judgment, lectures!
I am straying, Sigmar. I need a sign that I still tread the righteous path. One no one can doubt.
I shall purge thee all in Sigmar's name!
What are these doubts, Victor? Pride? Delusion? Perhaps. Faith will hold all at bay. Sigmar will protect me.
Witch Hunter Captain is a really strong class and the contender for the best class in the game. Your career skill, Animosity, pushes enemies away from you and boosts critical hit chance of nearby allies to 25%, which can actually be increased to 100% with the right skill. Combine this with your passive of critical hit headshots being an instant kill, your ult will look something like this.
Oh god, you're so good.
Marked enemies also take 20% more damage, which is incredibly useful, especially for bosses and berserkers. Also, any light block from the front will basically be a parry. Your crit headshot bonus is increased and your critical hit chance is also increased by 5%. The reason this class is so strong is because it is being useful just by simply existing on the map, as his bonus of passive damage from marks is global. And again, same with Kruber, the delivery of the voice lines just makes you go ham on your ult. Some people say that this is the best class for beginners, as it uses all of the game's mechanics, such as dodging, parrying, headshotting and marking everything, and I can definitely see that, but all of the following classes are very advanced and tough for beginners, so I would still recommend to start with the Merc and come back to this guy later. Witch Hunter Captain is, again, easy S tier. Weapons. When it comes to weapons, Saltzpyre has some of the best and worst choices on the table. We will start with the best though. Behold! The Rapier, a literal bloodborne weapon as it comes with a pistol. Your light attack is a slashy slash and your heavy is a stabby stab. The slash is excellent for crowd control and stab is amazing for hitting those headshots. The push attack is the same as a slash, but there's actually one more attack. The weapon's special attack that pretty much solely exists for Saltzpyre, just when you thought that he cannot bring more swag to the table. Pressing the special attack, you will shoot your pistol with infinite ammo. It can actually do some good damage, especially when you nail the head. What's this? Blightsome? Get the fuck out of here! And it does it for free. Unlike Vermintide 1 where it had bullets for some reason. But the more important thing is that it stuns and you can do it while blocking, so it is a very easy S tier. Now, the Great Sword is, again, not great. It's exactly the same as the Kruber's one, very boring, but looks slightly more cool. E tier. Now for the guns we have the Brace of Pistols, which will let you play as the Reaper from that one porn game.
Sure to send them your regards, monkey.
But here you actually do something rather than farm for those Reddit posts. Your left mouse button shot is very precise and deals good damage, while also being really graceful, by the way. And your right mouse button is that clip of Danny DeVito with guns. You can also utilize the special attack to spin the pistols around. Doesn't do anything though. Very strong, can clear berserkers easily, looks fucking sick, S tier. And if you thought that Witch Hunter Captain was the king of drip, you have seen nothing yet. Get ready for the Bounty Hunter.
Mighty duo! Twice the glory!
Before I even start talking about him, S tier. Beautiful.
Let them come!
Your ultimate, Locked and Loaded, is the second best ult in the game. Oh my goodness! You whip out this small gun and prove again that size does not matter, because you annihilate everything in front of you. The gun has 2 barrels and by default you shoot a bullet and a shotgun shell. The bullet is enough to kill anything that's not a boss if you hit that headshot. That's fucking shit, by the way, never use it. What you should be using instead is this upgrade. Oh my Sigmar, this is the best thing. Instead of firing a shotgun shell from the second barrel, you load in 2 bullets. Each bullet connected to the head refunds 40% of your ultimate, meaning if you connect both shots, that's 80% of your ultimate back. Man, if only there was a way to refund the other 20% of your ult for free. Now that would lead to something really wacky and uncharacteristic.
Off to hang myself.
And again, the feeling of power created by the voice lines and the sound design is just indescribable. You come up to this motherfucker and straight up tell him, now you fucked up! With this thing, anything is not a problem. Elites, 0. Bosses, 0. Specials, 0. Teammates, don't worry about them. Your passive grants you guaranteed ranged critical hits every 10 seconds. Your ammo capacity is increased and so is your reloading speed. This class is better used as in and out. You fight, dodge back, perk your free crit, fight again and repeat. Kinda like a dance. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. The guys I showed earlier, by the way, you know, the guys that are... are called Chaos Warriors, and they are simply amazing. They are the poster boys of this game, and for a good reason, as they look sick. That is, when they are fighting and not walking. Their attacks are devastating, and due to their size they can just outright punch you or kick you. Fighting them is always a pleasure, but don't forget about patrols, as Chaos Patrols have tens of those, which is an equivalent to death. What is extra cool about them is that they have a unique sound cue when they see you, and even better, they call out who they want to attack while also dissing him.
Witch-hag, I am your death.
This is such a nice design choice because this is the most powerful elite in the game, and knowing that this is coming for you specifically is amazing. Also, they do not count as man-sized, so no bullshit like instant kill crits apply to them. Also, they have super armor, meaning half of the ranged weapons in the game cannot deal damage to them unless you're hitting their head, which is tiny and almost fully protected by their armor when they turn their back on you.
Bruh, I be trying to tell you, we live in a video game world, bro. Half of these ain't even real people, bro. Watch this. That can't be a real.
S tier enemy, thank you for making this guy, and fuck you for making him lame in Darktide. Weapons time. Weapon first, the axe. Weapon second, axe and oh, alright, I'll talk about the axe, fine, god damn it.
Here we go.
It has no cleave, it has no moves, it looks fucking stupid and can barely kill elites. F tier. Axe and Falchion is next, and it is not as terrible, because if you combine two weapons with no cleave, you still get a weapon with no cleave, but with some other redeeming qualities. This is a DUC weapon, and it kills elites very fast, but is pretty shit against hordes. But as a bounty hunter, you have a super secret method for dealing against these hordes, and we'll discuss it later. For now, B tier. Now, Billhook is another DUC weapon and is incredibly strong, although can be quite weird to use, especially for the new players. For hordes, you'll have to use the push attack followed up by 2 light swings. This is the only reliable way of dealing with the horde, but for elites, you have a very nasty wombo combo.
Happy feet, wombo combo.
By using a special attack, you can pull an enemy to you that does not deal any damage, but it stuns everything that's not a boss. Chaos Warriors, more like stumble guys, am I right? S tier weapon. Once you get used to the moveset, you will never put it down. Repeater Pistol is basically the sawed-off version of Kruber's rifle. It shoots twice as fast and can spin the barrel to unleash a devastating shot with all barrels firing at once. Best thing is, this is technically still a shot, meaning it's critical and free with the right skill. A really good gun, but I think the next installment is just I'm you but stronger meme. Still A tier. Griffinfoot pistols. Oh me gosh damn it, is this thing solid.
I got 57 more goddamn rounds in this 4-round magazine.
This DUC weapon is a shotgun that holds 6 shots and combined with your passive destroys hundreds of liberals, maulers, berserkers and deals quite nice damage to the bosses. Sure, it has some downsides like it's weak against armor or it cannot snipe specials, but as a bounty hunter you're kinda okay with that, since you can snipe enemies with your ult. If you're still not sold on it, check this clip out. S tier. The last 2 careers were genuinely amazing, but trust me, you have seen nothing yet, because Zealot repents himself into battle. Oh my god!
Is that you, bellowing deep into the night, Goreksson?
Can you shut the fuck up, Lola? I'm trying to showcase characters.
I am the comet! I burn the impure! Taste Sigmar's wrath! I shall cleanse thee all! By the light!
Hey you, are you a Turbo Sweat? Do you like Wraith, Yasuo, Blight, Arc Warden or Ashe, but you're not a weep and not 12? Don't worry friend, because this modding guy is here to save you. Your ultimate, Holy Fever, is actually not what the ultimate is called. You do a massive charge forward and buff your attack speed to 25%, this can be improved to make you unkillable, and I don't mean it metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or any other fancy way. You are unkillable, straight up.
Potion, lend me vigor.
Your other ability makes you resist death on taking lethal damage, and that lasts for a whopping of 5 seconds, and your other passive increases your power for every 25 health you are missing, and if you played any video game prior, you already know where this is going. And also heavy attacks cannot be interrupted by damage, but that's boring. So here is how to Zealot. You spawn, kindly ask your team to kill you, or simply eat your locally sourced overhead, completely vegan, eco-friendly and gluten-free, and then you become Sigmar's special boy, because now you zoom around dealing insane damage while having tremendous attack speed. Honestly, Zealot is one of the most enjoyable classes to play because it just feels rewarding. Don't forget about that grey HP, because it's the only way you are getting any health back. Of course, this class goes really well with Merc or Ranger Veteran that has grey HP from his smoke, but despite that, the game always works against you, because Fat Shark just keeps forgetting that Zealot exists. Sir, this guy had the audacity to pick Zealot.
Roll in the Grail Knight with the Regan quest active.
I am having a very bad day.
So many effects in the game give you health for free. Grail Knight with regen, Werewolf 25, Wayfinder that forgot to turn off your aura. The best game mode has a ton of regen effects that you cannot control. Also, the team can randomly get them as well, meaning they will nullify your playstyle by doing nothing wrong. Also, bots always heal you if they can. There is a mod to fix that, but you cannot use it on official servers. Also, bots are very dumb in general. Not by the 3 level brain rot, but still pretty goofy.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Despite how fun it is, there are so many ways you can get screwed. I just simply cannot put him higher than A. But as a Zealot, you always have one more thing to worry about, since between fights you will walk with something close to 1 to 10 HP. And that's where the Gas Rat comes in. Gas Rat is a rat wearing a World War I mask, giving you the opportunity to recreate that one Sabaton song. Man, these songs are so good, I wish war was real. When he spots you, he'll yeet 2 poison grenades at you, covering a very large area and dealing pretty noticeable damage. Unlike Total War, these are not armored, thank god, and actually die pretty quick. When they have low health, they will try to suicide bomb you, which is actually very out of character for Skaven, but whatever. Funny thing is, Gas Rats were the most annoying special in Vermintide 1, because they would completely fuck up your screen, just like when you drink 1 sip of beer in pretty much any video game. Gas Rats go into C tier. They can catch you off guard, but I think they're genuinely the weakest special in the game. As for weapons, I introduce you to the flail, a very simple weapon. Light attack is good against a single target, and the heavy attack will make you swing it around, unleashing a huge horizontal sweep, incredible for hitting those headshots. Not only the weapon is incredibly fun to use, but it also completely ignores shields.
You fool! I have 70 alternative accounts!
Shield rats come in two sizes, normal ones and elite ones. Normal clan rats are kind of boring, I don't even want to rate them, but shielded clan rats are just pain. Die, just fucking die, oh my god! In a way to compensate for being the worst melee unit in Total War Warhammer 2, shield vermin here are devastating. Their shields are unshatterable, and unless you have a flare or explosions, you have a very hard time killing them. Fun fact, if you know that the mission features these things, just bring an anti-shield weapon, or you end up in this situation way faster than you would want it. Flail goes into S tier and shield rats go into D for how annoying they are to deal with. Falchion is a very fast weapon that has no cleave. On every class that is not Zealot, it sucks. On Zealot it's surprisingly alright, but in a way that is cheating because every weapon can work on this guy. Your heavy attack is completely useless as it is a horizontal sweep that has no cleave, and just brainlessly mashing left mouse button is kinda boring, so C tier. For ranged weapons we have the volley crossbow, which looks badass, but it's pretty bad in general. The damage is pretty much non-existent, the reload takes forever, and it is also very inaccurate due to how the fast bolts go down. Its only saving grace is shooting at hordes, but there are way better choices for that. D tier. Now the regular crossbow is very good on pretty much every class, because it is essentially a handgun but without the hit scan. And the sound is just, oh goodness. A tier. Now, are you ready for Saltzpyre DLC carrier? The king of chats, the destroyer of weebs, the pure testosterone, the warrior priest.
For Sigmar! My faith is renewed. For the first time in months, I have holy purpose once more.
By the might of Sigmar!
I am worthy! Unity!
Can't feel my hands. I need healing.
Let triumph be ours! The power of faith! By the hammer and the holy name!
The warrior priest of Sigmar. Words cannot describe the pure masculine energy coming from this guy. For all of you my Yakuza viewers, this is Kerillian. Obviously no guns, because that's for pussies. Our career skill, the Shield of Faith. By praying to our Lord and Savior Sigmar, you cover yourself or an ally available in the shield that absorbs all damage for 5 seconds, after which it explodes, dealing heavy damage, knocking everyone away and igniting them on top of that. This is huge, because not only you can save allies from specials, you can come out of a very tough situation unscratched. Usually, when someone falls behind and gets either disabled or downed, there is nothing a team can do for him, unless you're Sigmar's special boy. Saltzpyre doesn't give a shit. Your passive grants you stacks of Righteous Fury when enemies die nearby, and when the bar fills up, you go into Sigmar's mode! Your attacks become 20% more powerful and apply extra stagger, since that 20% kicks in a bit later. So you can slay these heretics for the righteous cause! I'm sorry, I got a bit carried away there. You also deal increased damage to Chaos Warriors and Mountain Blade 2 Banner Lords, available in early access for $50. Incredible. You are also completely immune to curse damage from the Grimoires, and also receive 40% less damage, the 20 of which are dealt over time, just like when using Stoic in Payday 2, but alas, there is no alcoholism to save us from that damage. Not only that, but by just simply existing on the map, you'll give your team huge buffs with increased critical strike damage, stagger power or health. Truly the shadowest character of them all. Also, I've never really talked about the ult upgrades, but this guy has 3 and they're so viable that it's rather hard to choose. The first one extends the duration of your shield by 3 seconds and allows you to pass through enemies, which does not sound cool, but trust me, it's really powerful. The next upgrade makes it so whenever you target someone else, you will always buff yourself as well, which is again very strong. And the last one is my favorite, the Comet's Gift. Makes it so the shield instantly revives any down player and also heals people for the damage taken last 3 seconds, meaning that if someone got one-shotted, you will revive him with full health, like nothing ever happened. Of course the down won't be reset, but that health is juicy. Do I even gotta say it? S tier for Sigmar, because I'm a Sigmar male, you own Burl heretics by my righteous cause! Oh, sorry, again lads, easy to get carried away. Let's talk weapons. Warrior Priest comes with 6 unique weapons. Count them, 6. Skullsplitter Hammer comes first and is usually the most underwhelming weapon of the bunch. On its own it's decent, but when you are playing a full melee class, each weapon needs to have a clear purpose, and this weapon is more of a jack of all trades. It can clear hordes and can hit armor, but does not really excel at anything. Being exclusive to Warrior Priest, it's only E tier. Skullsplitter and Shield is more of a step in the right direction, but a bit underwhelming at that. It's good at crowd control, but it's just simply outshined by our next contender. Flare and Shield, baby! This thing is a beast! Clean horizontal strike, perfect for headshotting those pesky cheesemen, and that is not the best part. The best part is you're blocking while charging up the flail, making you almost invincible when fighting the horde. Combine it with your fury and you'll wipe an entire New York worth of rats. Flare and Shield goes into S tier and Skullsplitter and Shield goes into B tier. Paired Skullsplitters are a really fun weapon, but I actually don't really like it on Warrior Priest, and I am in luck because Zealot can use them too. With his insane attack speed, you'll melt anything that's not armor, because they're kinda weak against that. But god damn, these are fun to use. Still, armor fighting is an issue, with you being forced to block cancel the first heavy hit. B tier. Now, Holy Great Hammer is an incredible weapon that can do everything. The only downside is it being very slow. Your first combo is horde control, being heavy into light, and your anti-elite combo is double light followed up by heavy. Not only does it look badass, but it's also really fun to use. And also, your special attack is a fucking punch. Zealot can use this weapon as well, and I honestly prefer it on him, but sadly, he cannot punch with it. Pathetic. A tier. And now the greatest of the greatest, Skullsplitter and Blast Tome. Hot damn, this weapon is good. The light attacks are all overheads, perfect for dealing with small roaming enemies, but your heavies are the real deal. By pressing a special attack, you can read your portable Minecraft Bible to bless your next hit. Additionally, you can just charge the attack for longer, but it feels longer, so just read instead, it's good for you. Your first charge attack will launch you forward, creating a movement tech that grants you perfect mobility against those pesky leeches and flame rats. Come here, little bitch! I will slay you all in Sigmar's name! Again, Warrior Priest is the best class in the game until gun rats come along. As a Markus Kruber, you cannot block flames with your shields. That hammer may just fix it for you. The second charge attack though is a gigantic Omega Slam that has infinite cleave, stuns everything and deals insane damage. Perfect for dealing with, well, everything. Easily S tier weapon, perfect for elites and bosses, one of them being a Chaos Spawn. Chaos Spawn is Chaos Boss, and it's hands down the most dangerous if you exclude our special boy over here. His calling card is his grab attack that will either one-shot you or he will heal from eating you and you still probably will get one-shotted. This guy's head is incredibly small and he moves a lot, so hitting it will be a problem for guys like the Huntsman. A smart thing to do is to keep a bomb on you just in case someone will get grabbed, or if you're a Giga Chat, you can just press F on your keyboard and deny him any opportunity to heal in the first place. Common, Warrior, Priest, W, but the Chaos Pawn goes into B tier because bots are almost guaranteed to be grabbed by him and his head is way too small. With that, sadly, we're done with our best boy and we move on to the Elf. Kerillian is your typical elf. Her whole personality revolves around the fact that she thinks that she's better than anyone else. I think Alex Wilton Regan, who voiced her, did a good job, but the lines are just so... But get it, you're so cool, wowzers!
Pogger's Bridge? Wait a minute, 2 gamer clans lost their drip at Pogger's Bridge! Elf! Elf!
Also, Kerillian is the only character in the game that received a massive glow down from Vermintide 1. Look at how cool she looked in that game, and what the fuck is this? Just what? Huh? Despite Saltzpyre being extremely arrogant, he's also cool, always commending his family in arms for doing something badass and encouraging them to fight harder, just like a leader would. Kerillian though is shit-talking everyone and everything. Plus, the people who play her are usually the exact same, thinking they're better than everyone else, which usually results them in dying instantly and then disconnecting.
I finally found what There is no escape! Truth hurts!
Kerillian's first career is Waystalker, a ranged class best suited for killing elites and specials. Your ultimate, True Shot Volley, makes you shoot 3 guided arrows that will magically lock onto random targets after they kill the one you marked. Your passive regenerates 3 health points every 10 seconds when you are below 50% HP, a terrible passive that you should always replace with the one reducing the cooldown of your ult. Also, you have double the ammo, your effective range on weapons is doubled, and you can zoom in when using ranged weapons, which is literally worthless. And you know it's true, because half of the people don't even know this effect exists. Same with Kruber, during his 6-second ult you can also zoom. Why is this a feature? I just don't understand.
Why isn't possible, it's just why.
There's only one gimmick I enjoy while playing Waystalker. If you kill an enemy with a melee attack, you will shoot 2 arrows instead of 1. So you can kinda bounce between the bow and the melee weapon, just like Bounty Hunter, but a bit worse. Other than that, she's very boring, to be honest. Sure, she has her uses, but her kit is really nothing special. Waystalker's true strength is ulting difficult to reach specials, and one of those specials is the Gutter Runner.
Wanna break from the ads?
Imagine Hunter from Left 4 Dead, and then imagine that he's on fucking crack. Gutter Runners not only jump at you from across the map, deleting you in seconds, they also teleport around the map and juke arrows.
Turn right to go left. Oh.
And sometimes they can succumb to the autism and commit not alive. I fucking hate Gutter Runners, and seeing them do this never gets old. Their calling card is also very distinct, and you will always know that they're coming. We are so fucked. As for counterplay, you can either dodge to the side or push them in the air, the latter being very hard, but more profitable, since you can actually kill them by doing so. If you dodge, it will just throw a smoke bomb and teleport away. You can also break their line of sight and ambush them yourself, but keep in mind, pushing is risky, especially when you're not the host. If you're lucky enough, you'll take some damage and then push it away. If you're not, they'll just shrug it off. Also, Gutter Runners can sometimes do this. Wayfinder goes into C tier for how boringly basic she is, and Gutter Runner goes into A, a truly terrifying unit. As for weapons, well, first option is a regular sword, actually one of my favorite options on her. Block cancelled first 2 lights are very good for clearing hordes, and block cancelled heavy into light is very good for killing elites. Also, this weapon has a very cool feature, 100 effective dodges, meaning you can dodge almost effortlessly without ever worrying about the effectiveness of the dodges. A tier, really like this thing. Dual swords is the other option and I honestly don't really like them. They're excellent for clearing hordes, but they really struggle with armor due to all of their attacks except for the first heavy attack and the push attack being wide sweeps. For that, B tier. Glaive is yet another option, but I prefer to call it by its real name. Smallest knife in UK. Thank you. The like button is below the video. Your light attacks are very wide sweeps, but they have abysmal cleave, so your crowd control will not be as good, but your heavy attack is very juicy, essentially being a very fast double hit that destroys elites and shields. Seriously, this thing is so underrated, I barely see it. Look at how fun it is. I might be a bit biased on this one, but A tier, a very solid weapon. Unlike Kruber and Saltz, Kerillian's greatsword is actually interesting. Your light attacks are wide swings as usual, but with much poorer cleaving capabilities. Your heavy attack is this weird stab. It takes a very long time to wind up and the attack itself is very weird, making it not only a poor horde clearer, but also a poor elite killer. Don't really like it. D tier. As for ranged weapons, Kerillian surprisingly does not have much. Swiftbow is our first option, packing 100 arrows with it. As you can guess from the name, you shoot very fast. I mean, this is Legolas level fast. What the fuck is this shit? The drawback being the damage, obviously, and the poor armor piercing. And here is the problem, you won't be able to kill specials fast enough, especially armored ones, as the gun rats do not die with a headshot. It sure is fun to use, but it's just not it, man. C tier. Hackbane Shortbow, oh my goodness. First of all, never use this thing on any other elf class. The ammo pool is terrible. Well, actually, never use this in general. This thing sucks. It shoots poison arrows that on impact explode, dealing poison damage to everyone around it. Again, specials will not be killed with this thing. It's just not happening. So their only use is crowd control? Nope, it's just as bad, because it's not instant. Also, if you touch any of your teammates with this arrow, they'll not only get annoyed with the screen shake for an hour or so, but also you will suppress them, meaning they won't be able to shoot at all. But Bash, what if I never actually shoot my teammates? Well, no, you almost definitely will, since the friendly fire in this game is broken. If any one of your mates touches your character model with so much as a toe, your ranged weapon will hit them.
For Lilias! For Karnas!
Will you cut that out?
Making his weapon an E tier garbage. Longbow though is much better. You can snipe specials with ease and it penetrates armor on top of that. Nothing else to add. This is what you should go for when playing Waystalker. S tier. Now we move on to the next class, who is the sponsor of like half of this game R34 content. Not that I would know about it. And also the owner of the worst cosmetics in the game. The Handmaiden.
With the winds! Make way!
Now, Handmaiden is a very straightforward class, in a way that she's very mechanical. A good comparison is Soldier 76's Overwatch.
You know, back in my day, if you had boy smell, that was a bad thing.
He's extremely basic, but still is very strong, if you're good at the game's core mechanics.
You're one of those heroes, aren't you?
Hero? You're talking to a villain, my dear.
You fucked up my face.
Handmaiden's ult is just called Dash. Yep, that's it. You dash through enemies, making them bleed for a bit. That effect is barely noticeable, by the way, and you can also empower that to become invisible. Your passive increases your dodge distance by 15%, you have an aura that doubles the stamina recharge. If you have a guy with Billhook on your team, he'll immediately suck on your toes for just existing. You also have 1 extra stamina shield and you revive people 50% faster, while also giving them 20 HP. Your skills empower these mechanics even further, making Handmaiden very strong in any situation. situation, as if played perfectly, you are close to untouchable.
Hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me. You can't.
The reason not many people like this class is because there is no wow effect when playing her. Your screen does not explode, there are no cool lines or feeling of power. You compare her kit to say Footknight and it's just night and day. But this character, despite the lack of flash, has a lot of substance. This is also a perfect character to help newer players, as you will get to them fast and either revive or just rescue them from any danger. A really solid class, but still can get boring quite easy. B tier. Although her dash can be really useful for catching up to those pesky loot rats. You play Deep Rock, these are loot bugs, but instead of hugging your escape pod, they roam around and make funny sounds. S tier, really cool guys. Elven Spear is our first weapon and it is really solid. Its moveset is again very weird, but her third light is very strong too for clearing hordes, which by the way seems to have more cleave than her heavy attack. Push attack is also a very wide sweep, which is also cool. And the first two lights combo very nicely into a heavy attack for those juicy headshots, making it suitable in any situation. Also the block angle on this weapon is the same as on the shield, making it a very strong weapon when you get used to it. B tier. Spear and shield though feels like a direct upgrade to the previous weapon, providing more protection, better cleave, and an overhead to top it off. Easy A tier. It's also a DLC weapon by the way, just like the following Elven Axe. Yep. This is a DLC weapon. It has 100 effective dodges, just like the sword, but it's an axe, which means no cleave, no crowd control, and no reason to ever use it. F tier. Why is this a DLC fat shot? And now for the ranged weapons, and oh, do I have a story for you. It all began with the forging of the ranged weapons. 4 were given to the elf, immortal, stupid, and the most arrogant of all beings. 8 to the master dwarf, a great support and the engineer of the mountain halls. And 9 ranged weapons were gifted to the race of men, who above all desire power. For within these weapons was bound the strength and the will to beat each mission on Cataclysm. But they were all deceived, for another weapon was made. Deep in the lands of Sweden, in the fires of Stockholm, the Dark Lord, Joachim Setback, forged the Briar Javelin, and into this weapon he put his cruelty, his malice, and his will to make the game unplayable. Hey you like having fun? You like hitting Ratmen and watching them die in pain? You like killing elite and special enemies feeling all good about yourself? Well, fuck you! You're not getting anything, you fat bitch! I've honestly been kicked once for using these, I'm not even kidding. Remember when I said that Bardin's RPG is second most overpowered weapon in the game? Well, meet the first, the fucking Javelin. Just by equipping it, you'll make sure that no one will play the game besides you, as now you can do anything, snipe everything, and cleave through everything.
Oh no, Gringe!
This is a ranged weapon that will make it so if you switch to your main one, you're literally nerfing yourself. Oh, and if someone tries to play the game as well, he will soon regret it, because these things deal like 20 damage of friendly fire. Did I mention that you have infinite ammo? Woohoo! These things are part of the DLC career. She does not even use them, why are they in the game? A tier, not putting them into S because I hate it. Next class.
Surprise! But sex, but sex, but sex, but
I walk beyond the light.
This shade is my favorite Kerillian class. Not only is she a blast to play, but she's also the strongest DPS class in the entire game, making her a must-have for some of the game's modes. Also, her skill ceiling is pretty high, which is always a good sign for me. Your career skill is called Infiltrate. You become invisible and can pass through enemies for 5 seconds, or when you do a stabby stab. The first hit from the invisibility is a guaranteed crit that also receives a massive damage boost.
Holy
Look at all this damage!
This can be upgraded to giving you stealth for 1 second for every elite you take down, and since in stealth all of your attacks are crits, a patrol can easily be turned into a shish kebab. I have no idea what it is, by the way, it's just a phrase I heard someone use. Oh damn, that looks kinda tasty. Still, not as tasty as this.
Holy fuck. I'm coming. Lois.
But then again, a drunk dwarf with a rocket launcher can do the exact same thing with way less input. Your critical backstabs will always insta-kill everything that's small, you have increased critical chance and deal 50% more damage if you hit from the back. My fellow spy mains, I already know that you are cooming, but there's more.
No.
If you parry a hit and then quickly dodge, you turn yourself invisible for like 2 seconds, which is very powerful and can help you one-shot any elite in the game.
Right behind you.
This class without any potion is enough to cut the HP of any boss in half on kata or higher, and unlike Kruber, you literally cannot miss. S tier, if you're cracked, play her. She's both fun and deadly, and especially useful when the game decides to spawn a boss like the Red Ogre. The Red Ogre is my favorite boss in the game. He looks badass, his attacks are well telegraphed, but that doesn't mean he is easy. His signature move is a very strong overhead that will go through block and close to one-shot you. A really fun enemy, plus he's an OG, since he was the only boss in Vermintide 1 in general, so he gotta be S tier, come on. With this class, dual daggers are your bread and butter. As far as I know, they have the highest DPS in the game due to them causing bleed on attacks. Sure, they have no cleave, their block angle is very small, and there's basically no stamina. They provide the highest dodge distance in the game, which is really useful. Plus, they have increased critical chance on certain attacks, making them really shine on shade. I really like this weapon when I have a team on mic and we can coordinate, but for my money, I cannot put it higher than A, as they are just not self-sufficient enough. If only we can take the high cleave of the dual swords and combine it with attack speed and crit of the daggers.
I think we all know where this is going, so let's just skip to the end.
Sword and dagger, the best Kerillian weapon by far, capable of doing everything. Fast, has cleave, can kill elites, what more do you need? S tier. Easy. Also, wanted to point out that in Vermintide 1, these paired weapons were the only ones to have a push attack. Shade also has access to her own ranged weapon, the Volley crossbow. It's really fun to use, being able to double tap more specials, shred berserkers and can even kill elites. It only is being held back by the very low armor pool that you can get back with a certain skill, but it is really not worth it. B tier. Next weapon is a DLC weapon that's called Moonfire Bow, and it is actually very interesting. It's an overheat weapon that does not explode instantly for a change. This weapon is very solid for being able to bypass all armor, even super armor, dealing very strong dot damage. The drawback obviously being the delay of the said damage, but at least a fully drawn arrow applies stagger, so it's not that bad, especially when dealing with life leeches. The last vanilla special enemy is the Life Leech.
What's up? Can a low come up in your crib? Man, fuck you.
Life Leech is a teleporting smoker that goes from why does it even exist to what the fuck? This is so bullshit! Their sound cue is more disenchanting, but unlike Blightstormers, they're not singing, more like creepily whispering, after which they'll teleport to you, trying to pull you in with a small projectile that is very easy to dodge, but the range on it is basically unlimited, so if you underestimate them, they'll instantly put you in your place. By the way, it is an actual leech because he does heal his HP from sucking you. A bit underwhelming at times, but can still fuck you up if given the chance. C tier. As for the Moonfire Bow, S tier. The best option for when you don't want to care about ammo. What about me? No. Now, Kerillian's DLC career is a support class for a change, and it's very interesting. I'm genuinely surprised by how unpopular it is. Your ultimate is called Thorn Wake. You create a wall of thorns completely blocking off enemies and giving your team some breathing space. You can change to a damaging mini wall, giga wall, or if you don't like walls, you can just change it to stabby vines. Don't do that, they suck. Your passive allows you to cast your ultimate for free every 60 seconds, and that effect can be doubled. Your attacks apply poison to the target, making it receive dot damage, and increase the damage he takes overall by 12%. Also, every time someone cannot get grey HP, you just yeet it for yourself, increasing your survivability tremendously, especially when you have the Giga Chat on your team or something like a Footknight. Also, all healing your team receives is increased, but that's boring. But this class cannot be talked about fully if you don't mention its unique weapon, and no, I'm not talking about you, go away! The staff is called Deepwood Staff and it's honestly god tier. Your left mouse button shoots a bunch of pellets forward. They don't really do much damage, but more than enough to deal with lesser enemies. But your right mouse button is where the money is at. You will summon Fruitful Eyes to pick up any enemy in the air, making him completely useless for a very long time. Again, if you overcharge the staff, it will just go sleepy for some time and deal some damage to you. You won't instantly die. You can also cool it down with the expense of health as usual, in a very weird and even sexual way. You okay, Algie? Sure, you won't be getting any green circles when playing this class, but my god, is she effective at what she does. Being able to save your teammate from any special in the game is insanely strong. S tier, both her and the staff. Oh, and if I see you using javelins on Sister of Thorn, I will find you and make you watch the entire collection on Forsen's Minecraft streams. Sienna Fuegonasus is our last character and the team's Bright Wizard, and for those of you who don't know, this is an equivalent to 3000 hours Dragon Breath Pyromancer. Sienna is all about fire damage. She does not have any guns at all, instead having access to multiple staffs, all of which deal fire damage but in different ways. Her voice, done by Beth and Dixon Bate, takes a bit of getting used to, especially that one line where she's a microwave meal. But after she grows on you, she will quickly become your favorite character. The actress did a phenomenal job portraying her inner feelings and conflicts of losing her family, getting fired from college, get it? And her burning passion for torching everything around her that she's definitely able to control. She's very powerful, and even Saltzpyre understands it and, in a way, respects it, which is actually kinda mutual. It would be so easy to make her a wacky burn everything and everyone type of granny, but she's not. She's way more deep than that.
I've already got one. I'll choose them over you anytime.
Now, Sienna is my girl, and she's all about damage. Fuck all of those supports, tanks, or utility classes. We're here talking numbers. Green numbers, alright? I'm going to burn them all! Gameplay-wise, Sienna is by far the most unique, mostly specializing in horde control, and trust me, when she's on your team, you're not getting those total kill circles. I'm sorry, but it's just not happening.
Flame, walk with me! Follow the fire, darling! You'll know me by my trail of flame!
Your first career is Battle Wizard. It's a career when you're going into battle as a wizard and you need your strongest potions.
Potion seller? Enough of these games.
This career excels at dealing with hordes and perhaps is one of the strongest careers in the game, especially considering that you can cheese even the strongest encounters with it. Your career skill is Firewalk. You zoom forward and leave a blazing trail behind you, and you can upgrade the skill to do it twice. Some might even say you have some real hot moves, darlings! Basically use it as a barrier for enemies to go into, or just simply use it as a get out of jail free card. Your passive will increase the speed of your losing overcharge if you don't cast any spells for 6 or 3 seconds depending on your skills. Also, the more overcharged you are, the faster the spells fly out, and the range damage is also increased for 10% for free. Honestly, not really much to say about this career. It's very simple, very enjoyable and excellent at what she does. S tier. Weapons. First of which is the mace. Honestly, it's a pretty alright weapon, inflicts alright stagger, alright for clearing hordes, and can even deal alright damage against armor if you block cancel the first heavy attack. Alright weapon, B tier. Fire sword though is a very interesting piece of weaponry. It's basically a utility weapon. Your light string is terrible, only good for killing small unarmored enemies, but your heavy attack is it's where the money is at. It deals fire damage, which hits hard on this career, and also inflicts very heavy stagger, staggering anything that's not a boss. But obviously Sienna is a ranged class. There is no way she is efficient at melee combat. Oh my god! Amazing weapon, but considering that you can only block cancel the first heavy hit, it gets pretty boring to use, which even the badass look of the weapon cannot save. A tier. As for ranged weapons, meet the third most overpowered weapon in the game, Coruscation Staff. To say that the DLC staff is the best staff in the game is to say that DLC reboot is slightly cringe. Your left mouse button shoots out a flaming shotgun that is so damn powerful, I would honestly use the staff specifically for this. But even though you one-tap berserkers with it, this is somehow not the power source of the staff. Your right mouse button sets up a flaming flame that will burn everything that's around it. Spam it in tight spaces and you'll not ever see a single rat for the rest of the game. S tier. Conflagration staff is the one I always confuse with the Coruscation staff, and it's surprisingly an okay weapon. Your left click shoots out a very small projectile that you can use to clear specials, and your right click summons an Omega Blast that deals damage and staggers large group of enemies. This weapon is incredibly OP on lower difficulties, but on Cataclysm you have to use it at least twice to kill a single rat, although as a supporting tool it's pretty alright. B tier.
Catch this, darlings!
Sienna's second career is called Pyromancer, and it is very weird. Some people call it the worst career in the game. I strongly disagree. It's actually pretty good, but it sure has its problems. First of all, your ult is a discount version of Waystalker's ult that only hits a single target. I just slapped on an upgrade for it to give me some temporary HP and call it a day. You know what? Fuck you in particular. Your passive increases your crit chance up to 30% if you're high on overcharge. Can we get much higher? And you also have increased range damage, but that's not what we're here for. You see, unlike the Battle Wizard, you do not slow yourself down on high overcharge, meaning you can create a high crit melee build by stacking up overcharge and going ham. Basically, a discount version of Sienna's next career, but we'll get to that.
My main goal is to blow up.
In some cases, Pyromancer is better than Unchained because she cannot get randomly fucked by a rat with a machine gun. But despite this class being really fun to play, especially when you get like 10 crits in a row, she does not really feel a niche unless you really want to play specifically Pyromancer, as she is kind of a mix of both worlds. And if you want to be everything, you will not really succeed in anything. For that, B tier. Weapons time once again, and we have the Crowbill, and despite looking really cool, don't be fooled, as this DLC weapon is complete and utter garbage. It has no cleave and is strictly an anti-armor weapon, except you only have one overhead in your kit. It would instantly go into F tier, but there are two super secret ways to use this piece of shit that I'll discuss later, so for now, E tier. The next DLC weapon is hands down my favorite Sienna weapon, the Flaming Flail. Hot damn, this thing is spicy! Not only does it look badass to use, it's also incredibly effective against everything. You have an amazing crowd control chain of light into a heavy, into two lights, into one more heavy. And if you mirror that, you have your anti-elite combo combined with Pyromancer insane crit chance, and you'll be going around one-tap headshotting elites like they are nothing. Easy S tier. As for staffs, first we have Flamestorm staff, basically an equivalent to Bardin's flamethrower, meaning it keeps all of its flaws. It would be D tier, but if you combine this garbage with another piece of garbage that is called the Crow build, you have a very funny build on your hands. It's not effective, but it works and it is kinda funny, to be honest. Still C tier. Bolt staff though is very interesting and my personal go-to as a Pyromancer. Your left leg is a machine gun blast, pretty good against cores and bosses, but your right mouse button is a sniping dart that has close to no drop off in trajectory. This is your only way to snipe elites as Sienna, and considering how important it is, A tier. The only thing keeping it out of S is that the machine gun is a bit underwhelming. Now fellas, get ready for the best and the worst career of the entire game. The Unchained, baby!
Detonate! Oh, fulminate! Fulminate! You asked for it! Better run, darlings!
This thing slaps.
Oh!
Imagine playing, you know, a fire wizard, but melee.
Yeah, boy.
Your ultimate is called a living bomb. I think you know where this is going already. You explode and clear your overcharge. This may seem like shit, but trust me, it will make much sense later. Half of the damage you take transfers directly to your overcharge, meaning that you only receive half of the damage, but instead you overcharge way faster if you get hit. Also, you don't get slowed from overcharge, and your melee power on high overcharge increases to 60%. Alright, so basically, this is Zealot 2.0, but instead of having 2 lifelines, you only have 1, your ult. The main idea of this class is to stack as much overcharge as possible and just start going ham. With the right weapon, you do so much damage that literally nothing that is not a special is a threat to you. And you know, this is nice, this is fun, but there are problems. On higher difficulties you are constantly getting swarmed by specials, and you know, it does make sense. If you're playing on Kata, the specials are the only real threat to you, but pretty much any special that's not a grabber can hit you once or twice and you go boom. Also, the random red from the back is now an even bigger problem than usual. You don't have the entire game working against you as you have with Zealot, but you cannot whip out a crossbow and shoot a special that's coming for you as you are overcharged. There are ways to manage your hit, but some of the times you will get blown up where you actually did nothing wrong. Also, there's a very cursed way to play this career. You can max out the venting skills and constantly spam projectiles, which is surprisingly very effective, but I still prefer the same old same old.
So good and tasty.
A tier. Regular sword is our first weapon and it is painfully mediocre. Does not do anything bad, but also is very far from good. C tier. Now the dagger is very interesting. Your attacks are extremely fast, but also your heavy attacks deal dots and are very good against armor. You also have increased dodge distance and the best movement tech in the game, perfect for getting to those fuckers with banners in time. Meet the worst special in the game and the main reason you are going to quit Vermintide 2. The Bannerlord.
That's so funny! That's so funny!
It's the only Beastman special and it's annoying as shit. His calling card is a Beastman chant that will haunt your deepest nightmares.
Leave me alone!
If he sees you, he'll pop a banner, empowering everyone around him, giving them increased health, damage and stagger resistance, and also health regen, making Battle Wizard close to useless. But that's not the problem. If he places a banner, he pushes you. If he breaks that banner, he pushes you again. Does not seem like a big deal? Well...
Man.
Also, on some of the challenges you'll do later, the game spawns 8 or 10 of those. Good luck fighting those, kid. The banners can only be broken with an explosion or an attack, meaning the RPG is a must-have when banners are a thing. The dagger goes into A tier and the banner lord goes into F tier. Fuck this unit! Oh, and if that seems overpowered, he used to make everyone affected by the banner invulnerable. How do you make this? As for ranged weapons, we have the Fireball Staff. It's alright. Your left click is exactly the same as the Conflagger, the one that's worse.
Baba Booey.
And your right click is a big ass blast that also damages you and takes a lot of time to charge up and also doesn't deal that much. Yeah, don't use this one. There are far better options. D tier. Beam Staff is also very weird. Your left click is a beam with unlimited range that deals very little damage, barely enough to kill normal Ratman. Using it in tight spaces is very fun, but other than that, it kinda sucks. You also have a shotgun on your right click, which is way worse than the coruscation shotgun for some reason. Personally, I only use it as a way to quickly stack overcharge on Unchained, so fuck it, D tier. And with that we move on to Sienna's DLC career, the Necromancer.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Listen, I'm not gonna go into much depth about the lore complications.
Not a necromancer, Markus! Not a necromancer!
I'll just say that I don't really like this class. Your ult is called Raise Dead, you press the button and summon skellies that will attack everything that's near and follow you until they die. You also have a wacky skull bound to the same button as the potion, which can definitely never get annoying. You can left click a guy and the skellies will attack him, or right click to make them form a wall, or you can eat them to vent 70% of your overcharge. Your passive increases the damage set on fire enemies take by 20% from Sienna specifically. Every enemy you kill grants you 2% crit chance for 4 seconds, that stacks 5 times, and your dots are twice as long. The gimmick of this character is that there is a skill granting you infinite cleave on crit. That is the other secret way to use the Copium, by the way. Also, this mechanic is just net from Darktide. Very cool. And yeah, being a Necromancer is cool, but she's just so boring to play. Sure, you can command your skellies, but they kinda do the work for you. You have a lot of mechanics, but you don't really feel like you're achieving anything yourself. You take a Grail Knight, whose skills and effects are also very passive, and he's also very easy to play, but when I ult or chop a guy's head off, I felt that I've done it.
Michelangelo, Leonardo, Da Vinci, they're all dead. I remain!
When you have your skellies with you, that can grant you 80% damage reduction for 3 attacks you receive later, you practically feel... I don't know, maybe I'm playing her wrong, but for my money, she's infinitely less enjoyable than even the Pyromancer, so C tier. Your main weapon is a giant scythe that looks badass, but it's also kinda meh. I like it on Unchained, but that's about it. Your heavy is a horizontal swing, and your light is a very weird pattern of slashes, pretty decent against armor. You also have a special attack that's pretty cool. Doesn't do anything though. I like that Sienna now has more choices for Unchained, but I honestly would prefer the flare since it's more interesting. A tier. Your unique Soul Stealer staff allows you to do the suck and throw some snowballs, which, again, plays into what I said earlier. Since the weapon is unique to Necromancer, I want to use it, and it's just effortless. The balls aim for me, the suck is target locked, and although it feels badass, it once again is snapped from Darktide. Also, it has zoom. Why again is this in the game? The only time where I really like the staff is when I'm killing bosses, one of them being the Stone Fiend. This monster is easily the weakest, him being very stationary and having a weak spot on his back that stuns him if you hit it, but don't be fooled. Fight him in a tight space and you will regret your entire existence. Also, he's armored all the way, so don't forget to use those heavy attacks. A tier, a really solid monster. The staff though goes into B tier for how boring it is to use. And Yeah, that's it. Obviously I did not include the big bosses, but there's no real point at that since they only appear once. Now I want to discuss the game modes themselves. Surely no one is tired of me rambling about this game, right? Wait, what the fuck happened here? We already discussed the campaign mode, but I want to run through it one extra time. The main campaign is just perfect. Missions are not dragged out for too long, no real moments where you wanna die except for that one time, but it's still mostly bearable. But there are some DLC missions that are just yuck, you know? Most of them are fine, but some of them are just insanely stupid, like this one. There are also heroic deeds that are fundamentally broken and useless unless you want that cool border. Basically, these are missions with certain twists, like the never-ending hordes on the infamous oops! Oh, stove vermin! But some stupid fuck degenerate decided that they should not only drop from chests, but also don't have matchmaking and are locked to a certain difficulty. Rewards for them are also trash. They usually give chests, and considering how tough they are, you'll probably be doing them when you're fully geared up. But don't worry, Uncle Bass is here to teach you how to bypass these epic style. Take a friend of a average intellectual capacity, start the deed, wait till he accepts, and then change the difficulty and the map to whatever you want. Thank me later. By the way, Fatshot knows about this bug and intentionally keeps it in. God bless. There's also Twitch mode, and since the game is about as dead as Payday 3, no one really wants to watch it, so people just join one of those 24-hour streaming channels and get random modifiers, which is also very fun and chaotic. There are also weaves, no one knows what they are because nobody plays them. I did it only for your entertainment, and look here, study shows that 99% of people who play this game mode die of cringe. That's the science, guys, come on, they know what they're doing. Basically, you load in on these empty maps filled with approximately 4 enemies, kill them, then fight the boss, and then it's over. Sometimes the mission will have unique objectives that may spice up the gameplay, but usually they are just as bad. And I kinda want to commend Fatshot here for being way ahead of its time and introducing Payday 3 5 years prior to its release.
I hate you.
Also, if you enjoy doing all of the grinding to play the actual game, don't worry, because it does not matter, as now I have to grind it again! Also, if one friend has a DLC, all of his goons can play it with him. That's the Fatshot policy. There is no way they would change it, and they did. Wow. But hey, this is like the worst DLC in the game. It adds weaves, beastmen, some weapons I guess. I'll just never buy it. Well, big surprise, dumbbell, the Cataclysm difficulty is locked behind it as well.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Fatshot actually believed that someone would enjoy playing these weaves so much, they added a ranked mode, and it had 4 ranked seasons, just like Fortnite or some shit. I want this level of confidence in my life, seriously. Also, if you get bored, Orcus challenges are here for you. Basically, achievements from Payday 2, but instead of giving you cool masks or paint for your weapon, it just gives you 5 monies, that is like, let me count quickly, 0.27% of an actual skin, but hey, it's not that bad. If you do them all, you might post it on Reddit and get like 3 upvotes. Game design is my passion! There's also super secret mega duper level called Fortunes of War, playing which is an equivalent of sticking your balls into sulfuric acid while also playing Outlast and League of Legends at the same time. Basically, it's a survival type of map that on Cataclysm is impossible unless you know every single nook and cranny of the map. I'm not even exaggerating. You have to know every single spawn locations, bombs, potions, everything, and the only way to beat it is to cheese it with Sienna or Handmaiden. Props to the guy, by the way, he will be missed. Huge thanks to this guy for not only carrying me through the last wave, but also explaining in depth how this whole mode works. Oh my god, this was pure torture. Despite it being incredibly tough, the mode does not really test your skill, more like your memory. It requires a specific team comp and a strategy in kiting and cheesing. It's kinda bullshit, to be honest. In my opinion, it's not really fair when the game throws an impossible challenge at you, basically asking for you to break the game to beat it, unless your whole game is based on the concept of breaking the game to win, like Noita for example. This is just stupid. But fuck all that, alright? All these missions, Fortunes of War, weaves, this is all fake and stupid. It's time to talk about the real game, the Chaos Wastes. Welcome to the best and worst way to play this game. If you ever want to play Chaos Wastes, fucking throw this out. That's for pussies. Over here, we only play Cataclysm. Actually, I've changed my mind. This is a roguelike mode where you have to beat a certain amount of missions back to back. Each mission will have upgrades, perks or curses. If you see this colored areola, that means it is cursed by one of the 4 Chaos Gods, or a wannabe Chaos God, Belakor, who is better known as a little bitch. Thorn will make the game unplayable, Zinch will make you hate your entire existence or make you earn some big money.
Hey people, dopamine deprivation here.
Nurgle will offer some of the most annoying curses in the game, and Slanesh will usually buff you instead of cursing. Belakor has only 2 curses, one of them is skulls that are definitely not annoying, but can be easily cheesed by jumping, or totems that don't do basically anything. If you fight this demon chaos warrior thingy, you can challenge Belakor to an MGE 1v1, and if you win, you gain perks. Try and do this once in a while, since these instances often feature some of the best dialogues and character building in the whole game. Seriously, why is all this locked here? I would rather listen to these voice lines than to the Poker's Breach rant for a trillionth time!
Wait.
Perks are really cool, as you can essentially break the game with them. There are some normal ones, some unique ones, and even perks from your career, which may have ridiculous effects. You can gain these by either spending money on them on the shrines, or by choosing one of 3 during a challenge chest. By the way, if you're playing as a Necromancer or Zealot, never go for random perks, as they can destroy your entire playstyle. The chest offers a tough challenge that is either so easy you barely notice it, or you die instantly because it's anything related to Beastman.
We always get things done.
Oh no, we're so fucking dead. Here, the Beastman bullshit increases tenfold, since it can spawn 3 billion Bannerman or Minotaur with ridiculous modifiers. Bosses in this game mode, if spawned through chests or at the end event, will have mods like spawning trash enemies or regenerating health, but some of them literally break the game. Shoe-Chatter and Crippling will ensure that no one will escape death. And Rampart is 99% game over, as Rampart makes sure that the boss is immune to ranged damage. Okay, let me just check the characters whose main source of damage is range base. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out of 20 careers, 7 become useless. Keep in mind that 3 of those are boss damage dealers. To be honest, bosses are never really a threat to a skilled team.
Fucking bitch, why you bully me? Everyone asking.
But this is some S-tier bullshit. This is also a place where you can get some unique consumables like the Sensor, which is highly unremarkable, or Mogrim Bomb that may trivialize the entire game for you if you use either of these 2 wacky gnomes. I've beaten this game mode with almost every career, and trust me, when this game wants you to lose, you will lose. The coins you collect can be spent on upgrading your weapons, or if you are feeling lucky, you can spend almost twice less and instead get a random weapon. Never do that, unless you know that it is 100% safe to do. Now look at what you did. Anyway, I think Chaos Wastes are an incredibly fun game mode that can be quite tilting at times, but overall, when you get used to the normal game, try this one out. You are guaranteed to like it, and the best thing is, it's free. Overall, Vermintide 2 is an amazing game, featuring complex and fun combat, multiple playstyles and higher playability, and hey, developers even said that they will add some new content in the future. And speaking of that... Okay, so while I was editing the video, Fat Shark actually released a patch, reworking some heroes around. And I felt like rewriting the entire script would be kinda dumb, so I'll just say this now. Some of the things I said with Engineer, Warrior Priest and Bounty Hunter are now past the expiration date, if you get what I mean. I want to give my brief thoughts on the changes, so if you don't really care, you can just skip ahead. I'm doing this section like post-production, so you'll not miss anything crucial. If you've been following the DBD community, you might have heard what happened to Alzdava, the most well-known DBD creator out there and a genuinely nice dude. Long story short, he stopped doing these change ideas and streaks due to the huge lack of ambition coming from developers. And that concept just stuck with me, because pretty much all of the games I play now suffer from that exact issue, and this game is no exception. The changes are so out of touch, it's laughable. I like the nerfs they did to javelins and coruscation staff, as both are still usable, just not outclassing everything else. Engineer got a very weird change. I'm not sure I really like it, I have to play it a bit more. The stats are fine, I guess, but he just got way too easy to play, but you're just constantly spamming bombs. They also decided to change Warrior Priest, and this is fine, but don't you think there were some more, pressing issues at hand? And oh my god, the Bounty Hunter is even more funny. The class was not even close to being, broken, but apparently the thing I talked about, the whole ult recovery thing was a bug that's been in the game for, what, 5 years now? And people loved it. So they changed it to 60% and called it a day. I've seen people say that this is justified, and I can really see that, but I've yet to see someone being happy about it. No one is happy. They also doubled the cooldown on Grail Knight for some reason. Again, it just shows how out of touch developers are. The Grail Knight is a walking sword. He is the most passive class in the game, and you make it so his only interaction with the said game can be used twice less. They also changed two-handed swords, again not understanding why are they bad in the first place. The problem does not lie in stats, it lies in how fucking boring they are. But guys, it's okay, because they switched the attack patterns of the Elven Axe. Are you honestly serious with this? Also, they broke the game in a couple of places, creating some of the most overpowered bullshit ever, and they're not even exaggerating when they say it would have taken 2 minutes in game to test these things. Seriously, just take Battle Wizard, run through the first pack of rest, and you will see that something is wrong. They did correct their mistakes, but it just shows how much effort was really put into this whole thing. It genuinely feels like they ran through the campaign on Veteran and thought that, hey, bosses died way too fast and Battle Wizard is too strong, let's nerf everything. But due to their sheer incompetence, they buffed the Battle Wizard instead. You can't make this shit up. Even the changes I do like with Pyro or Angie just feel half-assed, like what even is this? Also, they threw some random changes in, just so the patch has more text in it, I guess, and it maybe seems like they do care. And also, look, we're doing the versus now. I'm sure many of you will disagree with me, and you are more than free to do so. In fact, I hope that I am wrong, since I really like the game, and I genuinely hope Fat Shark does care. That's all I wanted to say. Now, let's finally draw the conclusion. It's also important to mention that the game goes on sale quite often, and the DLCs are pissed cheap when it does. I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but there's this very cozy vibe that surrounds this whole game, like the fact that in the hub world everyone has their own room, even Kerillian, who was probably kicked out by Saltzpyre. Sienna's house is literally just a burned down room. Amazing, but still, I honestly prefer the vibe of Vermintide's one tavern. It's much more cozy, the banners that you get for beating some missions on Cataclysm are actually visible, and the... oh no, not you again, fuck you and your pumpkins, leave me alone! Anyway, thank you for sticking with me to the end. I hope you will try the game out yourself. I would love if this game will get more players, as despite its overall success, I still think it's nearly not talked about enough. Additionally, as a parting gift, I commissioned some spicy Kerillian hentai from a local artist, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. Obviously a censored version, since YouTube is still more or less civil, unlike Twitch, where it's just a free-for-all. I will leave a link to the spicy version in the description.
Sigmar, let me strength! I vanquish thee!